Hello and welcome to another episode of Video Game Logic. Today's show was recorded on June the 1st, 2016. I'm your host, gaming psychologist, and with me as always, my Appalachian Low.
Caffeine Rage.
On today's episode, we will of course be discussing the games we played, is Blizzard trying to stop Rule 34, Community Corner with some kind of out-of-date audio letters, and our Steam Weekly Deals discussion. There, I did it. I did it. Third time's a charm. You guys will get to hear me fuck up in the outtakes.
And me just cackling away in the background.
I mean, I immediately lost it. I couldn't even get through the first sentence. But
Barely got past the first word on the second one.
Yeah, I only got to like word 3. I was like, hello and
Oh, talk about being tongue-tied.
Yeah, well, I mean, all the weed hasn't worn off yet, so.
Yeah, you're Rocky Mountain High.
Yep, and you're my Appalachian Low.
Oh, that's just because I live in the valley.
Yep.
Actually, I do live in the valley. That's the thing.
I do too, actually. I live, I can see part of the mountain range when I drive out of my house in the morning.
Oh, and well, I'm surrounded by mountains. It's just I live in the biggest valley in my state. So, yeah.
I blame the porn. Some of that's probably, maybe all of it's probably going to be Franken episode stuff, but before we started recording, because of Overwatch's porn issues, which we will talk about later, I had some Rule 34 of Overwatch pulled up on in Chrome, and then all of a sudden porn just starts playing in the background. I'm guessing it opened a pop-up, and it was like, oh, hey, yeah, baby, don't you like me sucking your dick like that? And I was like, whoa, where's this porn coming from?
Goodbye, child-friendly rating.
It had me all out of sorts. So where do you want to start actually this week? We each have a story, because I posted about my Nazi story, and you
and I have a game dev story as well. But the thing is that you have a lot fewer games on your list, and mine is more of a game I didn't play because of this.
Right, okay.
So, do you want to break tradition and go first for once?
And tell my story, or start talking about my games?
Well, go ahead and tell your story, since I don't think it's linked to any of your games at all, is it?
No, it's not linked to a game. It happened in the clinic today. I've actually posted 2 tweets today about things that have never happened to me before.
Yeah, and I made a snarky response. And
yeah, because the first one, I mean, this, some jackass had read a couple of articles on the interwebs and thought that he knew more about psychology than someone with a master's degree and a clinical license.
Sir, I read the Googles.
Oh, but so, no, I mean, it wasn't like I read this thing and I have some questions. It was like, oh, but I read this thing and it says you should do this. And I was like, well, it has nothing to do with this other, it has nothing to do with what's going on in your life. That won't work. But that's not my story. My story is there was this woman who came in today. She's going to be bringing her child to the clinic for some of the interns. And I was the only one available to do her intake. So, just finding out information about her, why she wants to bring her child to therapy, what she thinks the problem is, that sort of stuff. So I'm going through the very standard list of questions. And I get to one of the last questions on the sheet, which is, how do you discipline your child? And she looked at me like, I don't know. I mean, this happens sometimes because sometimes people are worried to say that they spank their child.
Yeah, I will say that the issue of spanking is a very... a lot of people stick their nose in other people's business a bit too much and call it child abuse when there's a lot of other things that I think should be considered child abuse before it.
I agree. Spanking, a lot of people like to say that, well, there's been a lot of research done that says that spanking is bad for children and it's worse than other forms of discipline. And a lot of that research is older research. Modern research does confirm that, yes, if you only spank your child and don't do any other sort of discipline, then that's bad and could be considered child abuse. But, I mean, as part of disciplining a child, spanking is a tool that can be used appropriately. I mean,
yeah, it's not like when your only tool is a hammer, every problem starts to look like a nail.
Right. It's like you've got a toolbox to solve problems with your kids. And usually spanking should be reserved for worse offenses.
It's the nuclear option.
Yeah, it's the nuclear option. But, people are worried because we have a culture where people, at least in America, stick their noses in other people's business. And lots of reports are made about child abuse when I don't think they should be.
Yeah, ironically, the obvious child abuse tends to just fall through the cracks because of these people that just stick their nose into other people's business and just overwhelms the system.
Yeah, I've seen actual child abuse, like children who are, plug your ears if you don't want to hear some sensitive stuff, but like I've worked with kids who have been raped before and have been beaten with things like hammers and boards and other things, like real child abuse. Like I've seen that. If a mom spanks their kid, I don't consider that child abuse.
You can unplug your ears now, which if you have your ears plugged, you can't hear me saying this.
Yeah, but okay, so anyways, that was an aside. So yeah, sometimes, they kind of like give us this look like, should I say that I spanked my kid? And so I said, it's okay if you spank your kid. I'm not going to report you for child abuse if you spank your kid. I just need to know what forms of discipline you use so that we can more fully treat your child. And she still is like giving this deer in headlights look. And I thought, well, maybe she's dumber than she looks and she doesn't know what discipline means.
Oh, boy.
And so, like she sits there for a minute and I say, ma'am, is there some reason that you're not answering this question? And she goes, well, I don't know how to answer it. And I said, okay, why is that? And she goes, well, I don't discipline my child. And I said,
what?
Okay, what does that mean? And she goes, well, only people who are Nazis discipline their children. People who aren't Nazis have good children. And I said, okay, I didn't know what to say.
Okay, I'm scared for her child.
Yeah. I am too.
The fact that she's bred scares me for the future.
Yeah, so I look at her and I say, you do know that if you bring your child to this clinic, one thing that we're going to do is teach you and your child about discipline, because that's probably where most of your child's issues are coming from.
Especially if there's no discipline whatsoever.
Yeah, the fact that you don't discipline your child. And she goes, well, I'm not going to bring my kid here then because I don't want my child treated by Nazis. You're a Nazi if you're going to teach my kid about discipline. And I just looked at her and I said, ma'am, if that's the way you feel, there's nothing that I can do to help you. The door's over there. And she looked at me like I was crazy.
I don't think I would have been able to say anything at that point because I would have been too shocked.
I had an intern in the room with me observing the intake, and this intern I look at her and her mouth is hanging open.
Can you blame her?
What do I do? And this woman, she looks at me for a minute and she goes, you guys are a bunch of Nazis here. I'm going home. And then she left. So, yeah, I was called a Nazi today by, honestly, a crazy lady. And I'm really
you didn't even have
your
autographed version of My Kampf in the office today, did you?
Yeah, I didn't have my copy of Mein Kampf hanging out today. I left it at home.
In the shrine,
Yeah, I gave her a quick Nazi salute, though, on the way out the door.
Did you really?
Yeah, I actually did. I probably shouldn't have done that, to be honest, but I just was like, why not? I'm never going to get to do this ever again, and I'm the one who's in charge here, so what's she going to do? Because if she comes to file a report on me saying that I'm a Nazi, they're going to laugh in her face and be like, whatever. I can't get in trouble in that situation. The clinic supervisor, she's just going to laugh at her. So, yeah.
I would have been... after I got over the initial shock, if she didn't immediately leave, I would be so tempted to try to adopt a German accent. A terrible one. So, what is the problem?
Do what?
Trying a very bad accent, sorry.
Okay, yeah, no, that was really bad. It was so bad I didn't know what you said.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, legally, I can't report her for child abuse.
Ugh.
Or for anything, actually. She's just a crazy person. Or an idiot, however you want to look at that. So yeah, that's my Nazi story for the day.
Yeah, I have a feeling that her child is going to have a fun run-in with the law in probably about 5, maybe 10 years.
I mean, her kid's was 4 or 5, and she said she was having behavioral problems with her child, and absolutely, if you don't teach your kids rules or discipline, and she probably yells at people who tries to make her kids mind. Like if she goes to a restaurant, she probably yells at someone for being like, a manager coming over and being like, "Man,
please
your kid
tell
can't.
Your kid to shut the fuck up.
Can you please tell your kid to stop running around? He's causing disruptions." And she probably yells at him. How dare you try and parent my child?
Ma'am, your child is in the lobster tank again. No, wait. That's probably a little too high class. Your child is in the vat of fries.
I'm going to sue you for having those fries where my child can get in them. Just like that parent's probably going to sue the zoo for letting her child get in the gorilla pen. Yeah, that was in a roundabout way. That was my story.
Yeah, here I thought it was going to be, you doing something a little bit more extreme. This would be called a Nazi, but literally that?
Crazy lady.
Well, to be fair, you do deal with a lot of crazy ladies.
Yes, I do. I deal with crazy people in general.
True. It can't be sexist. It can't just be their ladies that are crazy.
No, there's some crazy guys that come in too. Oh my God, there's some crazy guys that come in there. Jesus. I've got one that's scary. Like, he's crazy and violent, which makes him scary.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. Thankfully, he likes me. According to him, I'm not a threat.
Oh, so you're not on the list.
No, I'm not. If I ever was a threat, though, I have a gun in my car and a knife on my person at all times. If I can just make it to my car, I'll be fine.
You need to build a gun into your chair. I mean, you're in the South, so it should work, right?
Yeah, it'd be fine. I live in Tennessee, so we can just put guns in anything and it's fine. Nobody cares.
Just have the gun in the arm of the chair, and you reach down and pull the trigger.
I need to check on the concealed carry laws in Tennessee and see where I can actually carry a gun concealed.
Yeah, my state actually passed constitutional carry and went into effect, I think today, actually.
Well, we've had that in Tennessee for a long time. You can open carry in Tennessee without a permit, except in places that, restrict guns, which my clinic is on university property, so it counts as the university, so I can't carry a gun on the university. And I've been meaning to go get my concealed carry permit. I've just got to take the test.
Yeah, well, I think it makes sense for you to have it.
I really want to. I want to carry concealed anyways.
Yeah, but remember, it has to be a nice German gun, right?
Yeah, because I'm a Nazi. Oh, anyways.
Well, are we done with the Franken episode content right now?
Isn't Heckler and Koch German? Because
I'm not sure. To be honest, I haven't shot a gun in something like 20 years. So I've kind of fallen out of that entire thing.
They are German. So yeah, I carry a German pistol.
Okay, so now you just need to get a nice little swastika on the hilt.
Yeah, I need to get a swastika engraved on it. Did you say hilt?
Or hilt? Or handle.
Do you mean grip?
Well, I was going for a handle and I said hilt instead. I was just thinking of a game that I was playing this past week, and a lot of melee weapons in that, which is kind of a segue, but I'm not going to be talking about that because I have a game that I did not play this past week, and that ties into my story.
Right.
Which may be freaking episode content, maybe not.
We'll see. What you got?
Okay, I'm not going to say the name of this game, partly because the game kind of sucks.
Oh, you told me the name of the game. Mostly because it's racist. Oh.
Well, also, I don't want to give them publicity. I mean, if you really want to search, you could probably figure it out. But, that's you having more free time than than anything else, really.
Bing, bing.
But I'll go through a third-party site that handles most of my review copies for the Sunday Sampler. And being a small channel, I cast a wide net on that. Basically anything that even remotely catches my fancy, I'll sign up for a review copy. And I'm not sure if I signed up for a review copy of this, or if I was just clicking through and it's like, oh, that looks mildly interesting, or if I wasn't paying attention to it, because it is very quick to click through things really quickly at times. But I signed up for a review copy of this game, and I get the developer to contact me directly on Steam, which is actually a first for me. I've gotten developers talking to me before on my channel whenever I do a video of their game, but never directly on Steam. So I get this invite, and I go to their profile and see Steam developers. Like, well, that's new. And I accept the invite and said hello, and this person says, yeah, you signed up for a review copy of my game, and I wanted to talk to you about it before granting it to you. And being at least semi-professional, at least at first.
Okay.
And then it started, the little hint started, like, well, I want to make sure that people that are going to like my game gets it, because the people that I've given copies to so far have been really mean to me, and they've been very unfair.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And it's even better for you because you know exactly the game.
Yeah. I could understand why they would have negative criticisms about that game. Because my first criticism was like, well, this looks like shit.
Yeah, which, to be fair, you've played other things in the genre, but it's... Oh, this is a poorly constructed version of that. So I say, okay, well, let me go see what this is, because, like I said, I cast a wide net. So right. I go look, and I start poking around a little bit, buying some time, because I want to... If the person is contacting me directly, one, I don't like to be contacted directly by the developer for my videos, because it feels like they're having a bigger expectation on me to give them a positive video. And maybe it's just where I'm smaller and I'm still really getting into this sort of thing, that I want to have that separation when I really should have the networking there. But it's just a personal thing right now, at least. So I start poking around and see a lot of people complaining on their forums about their reviews being removed for criticizing the game. And that's a red fucking flag, isn't it?
Uh-huh. That's one of the big ones.
Because, here's the thing, is that YouTube makes it very, very easy to file a false DMCA. And granted, I have no proof of this developer planning on doing this if I gave the video that I was expecting to. That's assuming, of course, that I would be able to do a video on this, because it was something that's way out of my wheelhouse.
Right.
But the fact that this developer's trying to censor reviews to make their game, and I use game, of course, in massive sarcasm quotes.
Do you want to at least mention what genre it is so people understand why?
Okay, it's, once again, using massive sarcasm quotes, visual novel. And we'll go a little bit further, saying that there's not much visual to this novel.
Right.
Well, seeing them pulling reviews and trying to just boost their overall rating because of it, really, really scared me off of this, just because I don't want a content strike. Because it is so simple for a small channel to get strikes like that, and nobody's going to give a shit if I have a strike on my channel, because some idiot developer who made a game, sarcasm quotes once again, that just looks like it utterly sucks, and I just don't want to run that risk. So I excused myself and said, looking at it a little bit closer, I don't think it'll be a good fit for my channel. And I don't want to take a review copy and try to do a video on a game that, and I had to even put sarcasm quotes around game because I'm professional.
Right. You're a consummate professional. You make money on a podcast.
Technically, I make money on my YouTube channel. Not much, but I do.
That's true, technically, but you have to make, I'm sure, a lot more money than you've made in order to get a payout.
Yeah, even though I do get some weird spikes on my payout, which is just strange. That it doesn't seem to fit with the analytics. I'm not sure what triggers it, but that's beside the point. I basically just excuse myself saying, I don't think this is a good fit, and they're like, well, okay, if you're sure about that, but I could really use some positive feedback, and it's, oh God, this person is just fishing for compliments, when really, if I was to be honest with them, I would tear them apart. I mean, I tear games apart that I like.
Right. You could refer them to me.
Oh, if I was thinking, I would have sent them to you, because I know you've been looking for review copies.
Yeah, I've been trying to get more review copies, and I mean, I don't give a shit. Come at me, bro. Come DMCA my channel.
Yeah, it's not like there's anything there to begin with. Oh, sorry.
How rude. There's stuff there. It just doesn't go up on time.
Oh, sorry. I couldn't help myself on that one.
I know. But I'll forgive you because I love you.
Oh, I missed you.
I missed you too, buddy.
It's been a boring week and a half.
Yeah, not for me. But I mean, I've already told you what.
No streams and no podcast recording. That's like most of my social life.
I wish my last week was boring. Oh yeah, really quick for the listeners. Yeah, I was gone. I think I said this last time, to go visit my in-laws because my sister-in-law graduated from high school. I don't remember high school graduation being that big of a deal when I graduated high school.
Well, you weren't a girl.
Yeah.
Granted, that is incredibly sexist to say, but it's true as well.
Yeah, after it was over, I went to a friend's house where we, what did we make? I don't know. We had barbecue and we got drunk, and then I went home. That was it. That's all we did for the whole weekend. And, well, it was just one night, but, that was it. But we went to, I don't know, 10 different parties and all this graduation stuff, and I just was like, I'm fucking done. I'm done. I'm ready to go home.
Well, yeah, that was the game that I didn't play. Just because I was scared off by the reviews being pulled and the developer dropping some not so subtle hints that they're looking for only good reviews, which, let's be perfectly frank, anybody that is objective to that game, no.
Unless it has a lot better writing than what they showcased on their Steam page.
Which I doubt. It's supposed to be...
I doubt it too.
They gave me the synopsis that it's supposed to be a lot of poetry-driven stuff, which makes it sound even more obtuse.
On that one that they read, I thought it was a really shitty haiku. I really had that thought, and I was like, no, they can't have been trying to do that. It was just bad.
Oh, but yeah. I don't think I would mind if a developer contacted me directly if they weren't suddenly hinting, the entire time, do a good video or else. But yeah, that's the game that I didn't play. So shall we move on to games that I actually did?
Yeah, let's move on to games that we did play.
Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about Shop Heroes before we get going too much. We did start our own city quite a while ago, and we never did tell people to contact us if they're playing the game and want to join us.
Right.
And I've been putting a lot of money into the city.
Yes, we both have, although you have put more than me. Like twice as much.
Well, that's just because I've been playing a bit more on and off and getting good items to sell.
Yeah, you've gotten a lot luckier with the roulette spinner.
Well, it's also whenever you send out parties with 2 or more people, you have a chance to get those treasure bags as well.
True. I have not gotten a single treasure bag, though.
I've gotten several out of that.
I've got none. I see them pop up from time to time, and I'm like, oh, am I going to get a treasure bag? But it always picks the other person with, gold. Which, all right, gold is okay, but I'd rather have a treasure bag.
Oh, I've actually gotten gems from that as well. Rarely.
You suck. Anyways, but if you do want to come join our city, which we would love for you to come join our city.
Probably the best way would be to tweet at one of us or the podcast's official Twitter, VGL Podcast, at VGL Podcast, I should say.
Yeah, because the search function really sucks.
Yeah, even though they supposedly did it a little bit better, to be able to check it, I would have to leave the city, and no.
Yeah, no, let's not do that.
And there's no way to do it very easily because it's your username, then add a bunch of random numbers, I guess, to prevent people from just adding people point blank.
Yeah. If, however, you're able to find our city using the city search, it's VGL, all caps, hyphen, Berg, B-E-R-G, with a capital B. So, if you can find it, you can join. We have 7 spots left in our city, and we'll be unlocking.
We have a fairly decent-sized city with hardly any population. And if you join, it'll actually boost you quite a bit.
Yeah, you'll get tons of boosts from joining just because we have so much money invested already.
So, is there anything you really want to talk about in Shop Heroes? Basically, the only thing I've really noticed is that I've unlocked another employee slot, and which allows me to have some more toys to start leveling up.
Yeah, I need one of those. I need somebody with tinkering so that I can build more guns.
I'm not sure if I've unlocked it or if that's the last person to unlock.
Because the only gun you can build with an alchemist is a pistol. Or just an alchemist, I should say.
I'm fairly sure it's the last person that I haven't unlocked yet in the city that has the tinkering skill.
Of course it is. But that's okay. But yeah, I don't have anything really to say about it. I mean, I've talked about it before, and I'm still playing it, so.
Yeah, and I'm playing it a lot more, but it's still more of an on and off thing. It's not a game that really lends itself to playing quite a lot of the time, just because of all the timers on it.
Right.
But let's go to a game that does require a lot of time to play, against my will, I should say. The Last Remnant.
I know what you're going to say, yep.
Well, I've copied my list, so you know exactly what I'm going for.
That is true.
But yeah, The Last Remnant. This is the reason why I don't have a lot more games on my list for the last week and a half, 2 weeks. Is The Last Remnant has eaten up a ton of my playtime just trying to level up. Basically, I went into this with some bad advice of avoiding fights. And even then, if I didn't avoid fights, I would still require just so much grinding to... in the next episode or the episode after that, from when we're recording this, I hit a huge difficulty spike, which has caused me to go into a third grinding session. But I'm pretty sure that I'm either close to or surpassed the amount of time played off screen as I played on my channel, which is just absolutely absurd whenever I'm doing hour-long episodes.
Fun times. Welcome to JRPGs.
Yeah, I went into this expecting to have to grind some, or, do some off-screen stuff, but nowhere near this amount and this early in the game as well. Overall, less than 10 hours of story content, and I'm already, I'm probably at about 8 or 9 hours of grinding. It's just absurd. And I'm getting frustrated with it. I'm not planning on dropping it just yet, but I'm not enjoying it nearly as much as I should. That, and I think my theme for this and the next game in my list is going to be want for tutorial. Just because it is obtuse on what things do in this game.
Yeah, it's pretty obtuse. And a lot of the guides online aren't very helpful either because people don't understand what it does.
Yeah, and it also doesn't help that a lot of the guides are for the Xbox version, which the battle system has drastically changed between the Xbox version and the PC version, which is what I'm playing.
I wouldn't say drastically, but they are different.
They completely changed how unions are built. So I would say drastically.
I don't know. I've played both versions. I don't feel like they're that different.
There's no leaders in this version.
You have no union leaders?
There's no union leaders. You could put anyone as a union leader.
Huh.
So, care to rescind you saying it's not drastically different?
I guess maybe I just only use the hero units as leaders because that's what I'm used to from the Xbox.
No, you can put anyone you want as a union leader.
I have not noticed that. Because I played the Xbox version first, so you had to have the hero units, or the mercenaries, which count as hero units, as leaders. And so that's just what I did when I played on PC.
But nope, you can put anyone you want.
Interesting.
Which does change things up quite a bit whenever you want to specialize a union. But it's just been frustrating, just the amount of grinding that I've had to do, and the difficulty spike in where I am in the storyline. And you just started chuckling whenever you heard where I was exactly as well.
Yeah, you said where you were, and I went, oh yeah, I remember that place.
Oh, that fight.
I remember that fight.
Yeah, let's just put it this way. I went into it, and my unions were getting one shot.
Yeah, the difficulty spike for that fight is incredibly unfair.
Yeah, it makes me wonder what the hell they were thinking for the difficulty level, or the difficulty curve.
I don't know. I mean, JRPGs do that.
Yeah, but not to that degree that I can recall. I mean, that's one of the nastier ones that I've encountered.
Yeah. I mean, they're probably just artificially linking the game, which is interesting because Last Remnant's actually a pretty long game on its own. Even not taking that stuff into, the grinding into consideration.
Yeah.
It's got a pretty long story. Lots of side quests. And challenge stuff. There's a whole challenge system you haven't even unlocked yet. You have to get to the second disc, equivalent in the story.
Well, do I have to download another version of it?
No. It's where the discs change. Which you're getting close to that point. You've only got one more major story quest line before you get to that point after you complete where you are. And after that, you unlock a whole new challenge section that you can complete with even more quests inside of it.
Goody.
I mean, unless you're going for completion, I suppose you don't have to. But...
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to do completionist, but I have been doing some of the side story stuff. Some of it I did do off screen, or got cut whenever I was cutting out the 15 or 20 minutes of me wandering around a city looking for the one spot to trigger the next cutscene.
Yeah.
Which, oh, damn, I hate that.
Yeah, that part sucks.
But overall, I am enjoying the game. It's just, there's just such a grind to it. Even more so than most JRPGs I've encountered. That it's kind of hurt it in my eyes. Which is a shame because, like I said, I'm enjoying the combat. I wish that was more transparent on what the hell is going on. Maybe using the manual, it would have been a little bit more evident of what things do.
Yeah.
But I'm playing the PC version and I don't have access to the manual, and I'm not even sure if there is a PC version manual. That's actually something I need to look into now that I think about it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's one either.
But shall we move on to another game that is in need of a tutorial?
Sure, let's hear it.
Okay, this was one that I actually was sent from Amy.
Okay.
Just out of the blue. It kind of shocked me, to be honest. Empire TV Tycoon.
Empire TV Tycoon.
Yeah, it's a tycoon-style game, as you can see on the tin, where you're running a TV station. She wanted to do something nice and dove into my mess of a wish list, which I use more of a, that's interesting list.
Yeah, like I do.
And I did thank her for it, and I sent her on a field trip when I sent her something in return.
Okay.
Do you want to know what I sent her?
Sure.
Shelter.
Oh, Shelter.
Yeah, the Badger game.
Fancy.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if she's going to be thanking for me once she gets through with that. But TV Empire Tycoon or Empire TV Tycoon or whatever the hell the title was.
Empire TV, a TV tycoon simulator.
Okay. I like the game so far. It's just they've reworked it since most of the guides for it have come out. which is actually in its favor just because they're still working on it to the extent that it made the guides obsolete. It's just, it really needs a tutorial, and all the info, it comes up once on a window whenever you first start the game. And, go through every section. And that's the only time you get it until you start a new game. So if you need to go back and reference something else, you're out of luck there, at least as far as I can tell. But you're building up your own TV network, and you're in pretty complete control of all the programming on it. It's actually very impressive, the amount of freedom that you have on your TV station. And you're setting the ads and buying news spots and that sort of thing. It's a very interesting game. And it's one of those that I think it's going to become like a project to be sitting down and trying to figure out. Just because it doesn't really have that much in the way of tutorials. But there's not a lot to say about it because it's so obtuse to me, at least at this point. There's the news spots will attract certain people, but you don't know. I can't figure out exactly when to use those because the guide is not exactly useful for when certain groups are watching TV to begin with.
Right.
I think it just comes down to the whole fact that I wish there was a full tutorial for the game, which is, like I said with The Last Remnant, lack of information for a game just really takes the fun out of it for me because I'm not one to sit down and min-max stuff, but I at least like to understand what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
Do you think that's fair?
I think that's fair. I mean, I do like to min-max, but I'm a crazy person, so...
Yeah, I'm sure we'll hear about that in your Factorio.
Yeah, I've hit out... Well, I'll talk about it when I get there.
But outside of that, there's really not a lot to talk about just yet because I'm still in the process of learning stuff.
Right. Okay, well then, what's next?
Demetrios, the Big Cynical Adventure. Which is like the perfect title for me, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
This was one of my Sunday samplers. And this was actually the game that I played before the last episode. But I didn't really play enough of it to figure out what I thought about it. And I only played the little bit for the Sunday sampler. And I played a little bit afterwards to finish off the first chapter of the story. And it's not a bad game. It's a point-and-click adventure. Sort of in the style of the old Monkey Island games, story-wise. The humor is a bit hit or miss depending on your taste. One thing I did like was it felt like they were giving a bit of a nod to the old Sierra games where it was very easy to kill yourself, and that's a Easter egg unlock is just killing yourself in various ways.
Yeah, the last picture on the Steam page. Game over. What? I died on the first screen?
Yeah, that's a Easter egg. I'll tell you how to get that one. It's actually in my video, is that you see a power outlet, and you click on it, and it gives you an option. Are you sure you want to do this?
Nice.
It's... The writing is, I think, if you're a fan of the older point and clicks, the Monkey Islands, the maybe not so much the old Sierra games, but can appreciate the nod to just be able to kill yourself at any point.
Yeah,
because that was the big thing for Sierra was they were very difficult, and it was very easy to either get yourself in a no-win situation or just to die for really no reason. I remember Police Quest, the very first Police Quest, the Sierra game. At one point, you have to go through the locker room and take a shower and all that. If you leave the locker room without getting dressed in your uniform, you actually die of embarrassment because someone catches you walking around naked.
Oh, that's great.
And you were actually able to pull out your gun and shoot yourself, that sort of thing.
That's great too. I've never played Police Quest. I've not played a lot of those old point-and-click adventure games. I've played a few, but
I mean, well, technically, Police Quest isn't a point-and-click adventure. It was driven by text.
Okay.
Open locker, get gun, put gun in mouth.
Okay.
Well, actually, I think the command to kill yourself was shoot self, or something like that. But yeah, it was very easy to kill yourself, and it Demetrius gives a nod to that with how easy it is to kill yourself. Art-wise, it's not the greatest. It's not bad, but it's not amazing either. It's passable, but it wasn't a bad game. I'm not 100% convinced on the price tag of it. If I recall correctly, I need to actually go back and double check the price on that. No, it wasn't. I was thinking the other game that was more expensive. It was actually a good price for what it is. The other Sunday sampler, which I'll get to in a little bit.
Okay.
A good price tag on it for what it is. It doesn't have voice acting, though, which is a little bit of a detriment, in my opinion, just because voice acting seems to be basically the standard for point-and-click adventures now.
Yeah.
But this is also the first game from this company, so... So, if you're a point-and-click fan, it may be worth checking out.
It looks neat. I might check it out anyways, even though I'm not like super huge into point-and-clicks. I mean, I don't dislike them, but
yeah,
they're not a
I've
genre.
played through the entire first chapter, and the Sunday sampler that I have out is most of the first chapter. It's like 10 or 15 minutes worth of gameplay past where the Sunday sampler ends is where the first chapter ends. But there's a lot of stuff that you just click on, and if you rush through it, you're going to have to do a lot of backtracking. It really pays off to just look around all the environment and just dick around. Otherwise, you will have to go back and look around a lot more. So that's probably my biggest hint for you, is just to take your time with it if you do play it.
Okay. I probably will, and I probably will.
And the other mobile game that I played is called Space Agency, and you're probably going to have to look on the show notes for that one, because searching Space Agency on Google is very unhelpful.
Well, I mean, if you didn't have it here, I would just go to Google Play and then search Space Agency. Oh, okay. This is like the free version of
this is
Simple Rockets.
This is if I was to put this somewhere, I would say it's in between Simple Rockets and Kerbal Space Program, just because this has a lot more going on. You have to worry about re-entry, for example, keeping the heat shield pointed the right way. But it also has some really odd things about it, like whenever you're re-entering, you have to point your heat shield at the atmosphere. And for everyone that played Kerbal, you would expect to, be pointing towards your retrograde, right?
Yes.
This, you point directly towards the atmosphere.
So, what, down and then you rotate?
No, it's literally, think of your craft rotating around the planet.
Yeah.
You'd be pointing basically radio in or out, depending on, I can't remember which one it is, but the heat shield pointing directly towards the surface of the planet to re-enter.
Okay. That's not exactly how it works, but it's free, so I'll give them a pass on it.
But I also had a game-breaking bug in this game that just completely ruined it for me, though. I mean, I was able to, forgive the oddball behavior with the heat shield, and the gravity turn, it uses the Kerbal beta version of a gravity turn, go up to X amount of altitude, then basically roll hard to 45 degrees and then continue on.
Okay.
But I hit a game-breaking bug on the second mission, where it actually is a lot more in-depth than Simple Rockets. That's why I put it between Simple Rockets and Kerbal, where you're able to build rockets that has cargo, and you go resupply space stations, for example. And also the space station, it acts like it's not in orbit of Earth, which is weird. You turn on your navigation computer and you have to basically do an ejection burn out to the proper place, which is just an oddball thing. You know, but it doesn't pretend to be realistic rockets, I don't think. But the game-breaking bug I hit was that any rocket I launched for the second mission overheated and blew up. Any rocket.
Huh.
And it wasn't like I was doing a Biffstrosity, 10 million Delta V off on the launch pad, because this was the career game. And you're limited to just a few million funds or dollars or whatever the hell they call it. So you could only build basically what they want you to build.
Right.
And I just had it blow up, and I tried using fairings, and it wouldn't let me use a fairing around the resupply craft, so that obviously wasn't it. And the way they monetize the game is that in order to skip the level, you have to pay them a couple bucks. So hitting a game-breaking bug, it was either pay them to skip the bug and hope that it doesn't happen further down the line. Oh, and they also want you to pay to even see a demo of how to do the mission, which just feels odd to me.
Yeah, I don't...
Granted, there's no ads in the game whatsoever, so that...
Well, that's tough with no ads. Paying to skip the level reminds me of, like, Candy Crush.
Yeah.
That's probably where they got that from. But paying to see, like, tips or guides or whatever, like... They do know that the internet exists, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and you would think that somebody would that's able to fly a rocket would know how to search the internet.
Yeah, you'd think. Sometimes people surprise me.
Yeah, the game-breaking bug basically killed any chance of progression on me because I wasn't going to pay them. I think it was like $3 or $4 as well to skip a level. It wasn't like 50 cents to skip. It was a couple bucks at least. So, yeah, it basically took the game from, I definitely recommend this to fans of Kerbal Space Program that wants something better than simple rockets to a dubious, maybe try it, maybe, but I had some severe issues with it, which is disappointing to me because up until that point, I kind of liked it. I think the only other thing that really annoyed me was that the voice in it had a computer-generated voice, and it did the beep at the end to simulate, keying off of the radio.
Yeah.
And the beep was obnoxiously loud, even on my phone turned all the way down.
That sucks.
I guess it was just, the certain tone or something. It would just be hugely loud. And it's disappointing because I like the game. That's the thing.
I'll have to give it a shot. I've thought about playing it, but I'm like, I've got Simple Rockets because, I bought Simple Rockets some months ago and have been playing it happily, Yeah,
I have Simple Rockets on PC, not on Android. That's part of the reason why I checked this out. And also, this was recommended to me through Google Play, which was disappointing to me just because it should have been better, but hitting a heat bug, I dealt with that in Kerbal.
Yeah.
And the only way to get past the heat bug is to give them money. I'm not paying you to get past your damn bugs.
Yeah, no thank you.
So let's move on to the other Sunday sampler. This is the one that I'm not convinced is worth the price.
Okay.
This is Tabletop Racing World Tour.
I thought this game looked really cool. I haven't played it. It was on my, what's the Steam list where it's like, hey, go check out 10 games or 12 games or whatever.
Your Discovery queue.
Yeah, my Discovery queue. It was in my Discovery queue the other day, and I was like, oh, this looks kind of neat.
Well, I think part of the reason why it disappointed me was that I hoped that was Revolt, but it's not.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, Revolt was a racing game that came out in the early 2000s, and it's pretty much set the standard for toy racing games. Very fast cars, very light cars. It just obscenely fun action. It felt like instead of toy cars in a big world, or toy cars in a real size world, where the cars are out of control almost, and you have to be very careful. This felt like regular size cars in a giant world, which is a huge difference just in the way the cars move. It felt like the cars were about 10 times too heavy.
So they had, like, real weight to
Yeah,
them.
they had real weight to them. if you're looking for a more realistic toy racing game, this may be it. I shouldn't say realistic as in the cars behave more like a real world car and not a toy car. And also my other issue with this was that the levels on it felt more like popcorn levels, where each race was, the longest race I had was like 4 minutes, and that was the elimination race, which runs 7 laps on a track. Everything else is like 3 minutes or less. So you go through the levels very, very, very quickly.
Yeah, that's a big tendency for racing games that I have a problem with. Like, if you're playing an arcade racer like Need for Speed or whatever, okay, sure. And I guess this qualifies as that.
Yeah, this technically is an arcade racer, but this is a $20 title. And races... looking back at it and then searching the company afterwards, I should say doing a more thorough search, they originally were a mobile developer, and they took that idea basically of the shorter levels to PC, and it doesn't really fit the price tag, to be perfectly honest. If this was a $10 game, I would say it would be a lot easier pill to swallow. But the races are just so damn short. And there's no custom race mode at all. That's another big thing. There's no way to say that you want to do like a hot lap, get the fastest lap time in so many tries on a particular track, unless it happens to be one of the preset challenge modes, or you happen to be able to unlock it in the tournament modes, which a racing game without any sort of custom race just feels weird.
Yeah. Does it have multiplayer?
It does have multiplayer, but the thing is that this is an indie game. So the multiplayer scene, I was looking for a multiplayer game during peak hours on launch day, and it took me hours to find one. I lucked out and was able to find one for my video. And the lag compensation was just horrendous. Let's just put it this way. On my screen, it showed me first crossing the finish line, and then it said I lost.
Great. One of those.
And granted, I have no idea what the pings were because it doesn't show that to the other racers. So it could have just been, a horrendous ping, and I could have been playing somebody that's on a hacked phone line in China or something like that. But they were just dancing all over the screen. If you want to see some weird physics, go check that out. And it's really a sad thing, because if you could get over the fact that it's not Revolt and you're looking for a racing game, it's not a bad one. It's just, don't go into it expecting to find other racers. And they don't sell a 4-pack, so you can't, get it with a bunch of friends. It's it's an expensive thing to get into. Oh, and they had day one DLC as well, which I'm fairly certain is splitting up the community. And they're talking about running more DLC.
Okay.
Yeah, whenever you go into the multiplayer races, you have the option to enable or disable the DLC. And I'm fairly certain that that's splitting up the rather small community, because typically that's how things go with paid DLC on launch day, especially on racing games.
Yeah.
So small community split up by DLC. Ugh. It's going to be tough to find a race without some sort of Steam group or something.
Yeah. Well, that sucks, because it looked interesting. And I have been looking for a new racing game to play on PC.
Yeah, if you don't mind playing against the AI, which the AI... Oh, that's another thing, is that the AI tends to gang up on the player. It's a Mario Kart style racing game. You pick up the power-ups and you shoot one another. But it seems like the AI tends to save their power-ups to use on you.
Yay.
Yeah, I didn't see a lot of inner AI combat going on. It seemed to be always, they hold into a power-up and wait until I try to pass them, then shoot me. If this was a lot cheaper, I would say that was worth it. But with the day one DLC, I don't think it's worth it. Especially, well, here's the thing: is also that the bundle for the DLC is 1 cent more than the base game, and I had the base game going in for the review copy. So that may have been part of the reason why I didn't see anyone playing.
Because you didn't have the
extra DLC, so I'm looking around for someone, and there's no one here because I'm playing just the base game. That could be the explanation of why I had so much trouble finding a race on launch day. Now that I really think about it, I hate to be such a negative person on this because overall the game wasn't bad. It's just the AI is ganging up on you, which tends to be the thing for racing games anyway. So it's more of status quo than a detriment almost.
I don't think that's the problem. 11 people playing now. 42 is today's peak. All-time peak 68.
I was playing at all-time peak 68. There was nobody playing. Yeah. So also, it is an indie multiplayer game. So there you go.
Yeah. Okay. What's next on your list?
Well,
Our
this is going to be
game?
Yeah, this is going to be our shared game and going into your list. Factorio. I had my session with Kyle.
Nice. Did he teach you a few things?
Actually, no.
Well, all right then.
It was more just I was bug fixing his science production. We didn't really go into lessons of him showing me what to do to be efficient. He did offer eventually, but it was getting kind of late, and he was kind of drunk at the time.
Okay.
But it was mostly him showing me around his single-player world, or his main world, I guess I should say, with the train system, and seeing a lot of that, which was educational, seeing how it is set up and knowing how to expand outwards. So that is helpful. And let's see, I also set up some oil pumps to try to fix his science production. It ended up causing another problem further, or in another section of the chain.
What did you need more oil production for?
Okay, what happened was that he wasn't producing enough plastic bars.
Oh, okay.
To fund his, I think it was blue science.
Blue science, yeah.
So I looked around and saw that his oil field, he didn't have a couple pump jacks set up. So I set those up, and I set up a tank to get the excess until it dies down, which it dies down exceptionally fast, by the way.
Depends on what the starting oil field level is.
Yeah, well, these were small oil fields, so.
Yeah, if you get one that's 300% or more, that thing's good for a while.
This was only 100.
Okay, so yeah, the base one, it runs down pretty quick.
Yeah, so I set up the oil, which got the gas I needed back up to pressure to be able to make plastic bars quicker. And then he started running into production issues on another section of the blue science, which was just hilarious. But he had 1, maybe 2 labs out of 8 running just because he had a lack of blue science.
Yeah, I had... So when I finished my game, I had 8 labs, and at most... Because you start needing a lot more blue circuits, which take away from your red circuits, which are used in blue science production. So that was my problem. I had plenty of blue science, and then I started needing the blue circuits. So I stopped I started stealing red circuits from my science production, and then I couldn't keep up. I could keep 5 labs going at a time. And but I'm by the point that happened, I'm like, well, crap, I'm boxed in again, so I just have to keep going with what I have, and I improved it a little bit by the end, but...
Yeah, and then let's see. Well, I was also having some connections issues with him because I think it was just his crappy internet. I was getting some weird lag.
Yeah.
But we went to go kill a nest of aliens, and between lag and me losing track of direction. Well, first of all, I got in one of his tank, and I didn't pay attention to what direction it was pointed, and I kind of wiped out a stone furnace.
Well, that's not too bad.
Well, here's the thing: is that his base was under attack from aliens due to his excessive production of pollution.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how there was a bunch of them there. So I grabbed the tank and start rolling that way because I was right near it. And I wasn't paying attention which way it was pointing and just wipe out a stone furnace.
Tanks are awesome.
So I was driving the tank around for a while. He told me to go try wipe out a alien nest that migrated to pretty close to his base. So I go down there, and it was a lot stronger than I think he realized it was.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm down there. I kill a fair amount of them, but there was too many worms, if I recall correctly, or it was a later one that had just a bunch of worms. So I try to retreat, and between lag and losing track of my direction, I run into another nest.
Oh boy.
So I go further north, kiting these guys. And Kyle goes right past me, and I drop all of them on him.
Nice.
And kill him. And no, here's the good thing for your space race was that he had just completed his rocket silo, and he had it in his inventory.
Oh, so he lost the rocket silo. Although the rocket silo is not so bad. That's not the bad part about it. I mean, it's expensive, but it builds very quickly once you get the materials.
I felt bad about that, but it was... did you see the screenshot that he posted to Twitter?
I don't think so.
While killing aliens, I did a figure 6. I mean, a perfect 6.
Let's see. Let's go to...
Yeah, I'm going to have to go look that up now to show you since you didn't see that screenshot. I'm pretty sure he posted it to the podcast. Oh, here it is. Don't ask me how I did this, by the way.
Oh, hey, yeah, that's really nice.
You thought I was joking when I said a figure 6.
Well, I wondered why you... Well, you know, if you look at it, it could be a figure 9. Depending on which way you look at it.
Yeah, true, but you have to be Australian for that.
No, that's really good.
So, I killed Kyle trying to kite the aliens. I was able to eventually save the tank. Mostly because Kyle bought me a bunch of time to kill aliens.
My favorite method for taking out alien bases has become set up a wall of defensive turrets. Doesn't matter what kind. It just, if you use lasers, you have to make sure they're powered. Then take the tank. Don't even shoot anything. Just drive right through the middle of the alien base. Because the tank destroys the spawners and the small and medium-sized worms just by running over them. Kills them instantly.
Well, we're about to get to the fun part because eventually Kyle said to build a second tank using his stuff, and we would go tackle this other base that popped up. That was just sending units to his laser turret line, and was starting to get a little bit worrisome. Okay. So I built a second tank for his world. We're driving it down, and it has 3 or 4 big worms protecting it.
Ooh, the big worms are tough.
Yeah. Well, let's put it this way. I tried we had a turret set up to the north, and the idea was to basically kite them past the turret. And then just, pull the figure 6, I guess.
Right.
But the problem was that I ran through the base to try to knock them out and got pretty much instantly killed by them.
Bye-bye, tank.
Yeah, well, luckily he saved beforehand, but... that... I ended up causing more damage, I think, to Kyle than I did the worms overall. Granted, but driving around, only thing I wiped out was 1 stone furnace that he wasn't using. So I call that a victory.
Well done.
Hey, I didn't take out any electrical lines.
Yeah, I've accidentally ran over some of those by myself. That sucks when you take out power to part of your base. Usually that's pretty easy to fix, though.
Granted, I did take out a good portion of forest, but it'll grow back. Actually, no way, it doesn't.
Yeah, so my strategy with Factorio when it comes to the mobs of aliens is as soon as I can, I go kill their bases that are close to mine. They do get a boost in evolution whenever you kill their bases, but if you do it quick enough and you clear an area out around your starting base, you can avoid feeding them pollution, which speeds up their growth and the expansion of their bases. So you pay a small cost up front in order to avoid late game shenanigans with never-ending seas of highly evolved aliens because you've been feeding them pollution for 30 hours.
Yeah, supposedly they're going to be changing how the pollution works in the patch sometime this month.
Yeah, and changing the way trains work. They're supposed to be making trains easier to use. Trains were my problem. So I decided, just for funsies, I wanted to build an off-site rocket production facility. So I built a train network out to it. I went and I cleared all the aliens around it, cleared out the trees, all that jazz. Went to start testing the train. They crashed into each other. Repeatedly. I could not get it working.
All right, Gomez Adams.
I couldn't get it working properly. So finally I just gave up and made it a one-train network and tripled the size of the train. So instead of running 3 smaller trains more quickly, I just ran one giant train more slowly. It worked out. So I built my rocket, put the satellite in it, launched it into space. I beat Kyle by like 12 hours. Not of game time, of actual real time. I'm pretty sure I played for a lot longer than Kyle had. I had 44 hours in my game that I completed. And there were a lot of problems with my base. I did better in the beginning, thanks to refining what I learned from Kyle from like 3 or 4 weeks ago. So my early game was a lot more organized.
Most of what I learned from Kyle was just looking at his base.
Yeah. So my early game stuff was a lot better, but then I got to the end game and I was like, oh, I still need even more room than I thought. And actually, so I was trying to not utilize logistics bots so much, but finally I just gave up and was like, fuck it, I'm just going to use logistics bots. So I had like 1,000 logistics bots roaming around my base doing stuff. So for the future, I'm just going to plan for that and just make my factory basically as small as possible, bust my way up to logistics bots so that I can start building a base based around that. Because they just make everything so much easier. So much easier to use logistics bots.
But and supposedly one of the things that they're going to be adding is basically pocket bots or logistics bots that you could carry around.
That would be handy, because you can carry around construction bots once you research the personal roboport. And then they kind of like come and charge on you, and then they can construct stuff.
My.
But the blueprint system is a bit obtuse, and the only thing that I found it to be even remotely useful for is setting up a solar field. But, I mean, really, it's not all that hard to set up a solar field. It takes like 2 minutes to run out, put some solar panels down, and then run back. And, I mean, between researching things and building stuff, just having to wait, it's like I could just stand still, or I could go build my solar field while this stuff works. So I'm not really sure like what the point is. I think the only time that they would have been also useful if I had built a blueprint to use for this was I tried to do a base creep with laser turrets to take out this ginormous... I mean, it was huge. It was the size of like 5 of the normal-sized alien bases put together.
Wow.
And my tank ramming strategy did not work because there were just so many enemies. Every time I drove into it, it would be instant death. And then I'm too slow to outrun them because my power armor, I focused on shields and lasers. And there were just so many I couldn't survive. So I tried to do a turret creep on them, and it didn't work. So eventually I just gave up. I was like, well, they haven't been able to get past my defenses so far, and I'm building my rocket now, so I'll go do something else.
Nuke from orbit. It's the only way to be sure.
Yeah, so building my rocket, the problem that I ran into was... I forget what it was called, the actual part in the game, but it requires blue circuits and speed modules, which both require red circuits. So I'm trying to research stuff, and I need the red circuits to build blue circuits and the speed modules, and I just could not keep up with red circuits. And I had used up most of my resources, so I couldn't pump more resources into the base without going out and clearing out some more aliens and building a new base. And I just was like, I'm just going to have to adjust my production and just slow down. And it took me a little while, but eventually I got it. And I built my satellite, put it in the rocket, sent it into space. I took some screenshots. I haven't posted them yet, but I'm going to. I was very pleased, and I've already started another new game. My total game time for Factorio so far is 95 hours.
Oh, I think we need an intervention.
Nah, I'm good. I'll be more efficient
I think you
this
need
time,
to
I
go
swear.
to Play Eve and build your Death Star.
The thing that I don't understand is I've seen people who do speed runs, and someone has been able to launch a rocket on the subreddit in around 2 hours. I don't know how you do that. I have no idea. No idea.
They have to be using some sort of glitch.
Yeah, or script or something. I don't know. It's like, hey, I got my speed run down to this. And it's like game completed, 2 hours and 4 minutes. And I'm like, how? At 2 hours and 4 minutes.
Where's the video for this?
Yeah, at 2 hours and 4 minutes, I haven't even gotten blue science. It's crazy.
At 2 minutes and 4 minutes, I'm still trying to get the damn conveyors to work right.
Yeah, I don't like my new startup. I restarted. Excuse me. I restarted probably a dozen times trying to get a good starting seed on the new game that I've started, and I don't really like the one I got, but it was the best one, and I was like, well, I'll just play it. But I think I'm going to start another. Just keep restarting now that I'm home and not impatient and socialed out. To find a really good starting seed and then just go from there. But so yeah, that's Factorio. Love me some Factorio. I have a problem, but it's okay.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, I'm fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, well, our games we played is kind of going on, isn't it?
Yep. It's fine.
Granted, we do have some section that we're going to be cutting out of that.
Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it. We haven't talked for like a week and a half, so we've got a lot of games. We got a lot of bullshit to go through. So the rest of my games are mobile games that I played because I was on this trip. So the first one is Galaxy Reavers. I actually played this on my iPad. I don't know if it's on Google Play.
Yeah, I was about to say this is on iTunes.
And even
You've gone to the dark side.
Well, I mean, I took my iPad with me on this trip.
Or should I say the turtleneck side?
For playing games, that's the one thing I like about it over my phone. I've got a huge phone, but my iPad is obviously bigger than my phone. So,
well, that's kind of the point, isn't it?
Yeah. So for playing games like this, it's good. What it is it's a free-to-play space RTS-ish game. You are the captain of a fleet or the commander of a fleet, and you start out with what I think is supposed to be a destroyer. It's got some translation issues that are very apparent in the mission text. I think this
some
is supposed
English.
To be, yeah, it's got some English in it. But I think it's supposed to be like a destroyer class vessel. They call it a chaser.
Okay, this is one thing I like over the iTunes store is that it shows the in-app purchases, the prices on this.
That you like over the iTunes store?
That I like the iTunes store shows that over the Google Play Store. Sorry, I just happened to notice that.
Oh, yeah, no, that's okay. But so you're commanding these ships, and it's all touchscreen controlled, and you get like 5 minutes of mission to complete the mission objective, which most of the time is kill all the ships. Occasionally, it's protect a thing or get across the map without being killed, but like 99% of the time, it's kill everything. So you build your fleet. You can completely customize the ships in terms of what weapons and equipment you can put on them. You can unlock upgrades for your ship that allows you to put more equipment. And they've got several different ship classes. I think there's 6. Frigate, which sucks. As soon as you get away from the frigates, get away from those. But there's frigates, the chaser, which I think is a destroyer, cruisers, battleships, carriers, and then something called a Titan, which looks like a mobile space station. And it's a lot of fun. It's got really good graphics. The gameplay is the right amount of challenging. It doesn't feel too grindy, although I'm not sure how long the story is. I'm on like mission 30. It's definitely difficult, but it's not impossibly difficult. Like I haven't felt like I've needed to spend any money on it yet. You can get lots and lots of free currency from watching ads. They let you watch lots of ads for free currency.
Just set up the drinking bird pressing that button.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like every time it's like,
Actually, I'm surprised. I'd be surprised if there isn't, like a drinking bird that you could have a little stylus tip on.
that would be amazing. Just watch ad, watch ad, watch ad.
Buying that purchase. Oh crap! Somebody bumped the bird.
The only thing that like makes me a little bit frustrated and want to like, I wish this was faster, was your ships have to repair between missions, obviously. And it's not too bad at first, but once you start getting really high level cruisers and you get into battleships, it can take like 15 minutes for your ship to repair. And you can take it into battle damaged, but you really don't want to do that. Because they do get challenging around level, I don't know, 25 or so. They start to get very challenging. So you want all of your ships at full strength. But there is a lot of tactical and strategic depth involved. Like you can set your ships up for close range, mid-range, long-range combat. Different ships are better at different things, but you can really do anything you want. Like battleships, it recommends that you use battleships for long-range weapon platforms, but my battleship is outfitted with a defense shield and a ton of torpedoes, which are close-range weapons. And you hit the shield, which makes you invulnerable for like 30 seconds, and hit the afterburner so you can get really close to the enemies, and then just dump all of your torpedoes on them and kill everything. And you just rinse and repeat. Which, I mean, it's still pretty difficult to do that because it's not very maneuverable, but it works. So it's a fun game. I played it quite a bit while I was gone. Probably not including just hitting watch ads and then going to the bathroom or something. Probably about 3 hours. I played it while I was on my trip. Bird? Yeah. Next on my list is Winter State, which is kind of the same thing, except instead of spaceships, it's post-apocalyptic cars. Like, think Road Warrior, except in snow instead of in the desert.
Okay.
Everything's got a really neat post-apocalyptic... I mean, it really is Road Warrior. Everything's got, like, spikes on it and looks really tough and...
Is that
rough
Uncle Sam?
Yeah, it's Uncle Sam. As far as I know, he's not in the game. He's just who they're using for the screenshot. But yeah, I mean, it's basically the exact same thing, except with cars instead of spaceships. It doesn't have the English problem. It's very well translated, and it does actually have a decent soundtrack which is odd for a mobile game. But there's just like a lot of rock and metal in it as background music, and I'm like, yeah, this is nice.
No, it looks like it is on Android as well.
Although I really don't recommend playing this on a small screen.
Yeah,
you can give it a shot. It might be scaled properly, but I mean,
yeah, the Google Play Store has a very bad rating for this.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say a very bad, but usually it seems like these stores have anything that's above 4 stars is pretty good. This is running at 3.8 with a lot of 1-star reviews.
Yeah. It's really good, although I haven't played it as much, maybe only an hour, so I don't know if it's grindy or not. I basically played it long enough to get through the tutorial, because it does quite a few missions introducing you to the different vehicles, and by the end of the tutorial, you've actually got a really nice mix of vehicles. You have 4 vehicles by the end of the tutorial, 4 different ones, and 3 different drivers.
Yeah, there's a lot of people complaining about pay to win, and upgrading takes forever for your vehicles.
Yeah, see, I haven't gotten any of that stuff yet. Nothing is high enough level for me to upgrade it, so...
I will say this, though, that it looks like the developer is very active on these reviews and addressing criticism.
That's good. But, yeah, I do enjoy it, and I intend to play it some more, but I'm not far enough really to give it to pass judgment, I feel like. Because it's not bad. It's a well-designed, easy-to-play game. Works well on a mobile device, so... yeah, good game. And the last game I played was If My Heart Had Wings.
Yeah, which is... you're linking to the full Steam version here, but you said this was the Android?
Yeah, I played it on Android. I'm not sure why I did that.
Oh, I was just making sure because the Android version is different. It looks like it's a limited version of it, either a particular storyline or something. I'm not 100% sure there.
I'm not sure. I haven't finished it. I played it for I played it on the plane out and on the plane back, so I played it for about 6 hours. I haven't finished it yet, so I don't know what about it is limited.
Yeah, I was just saying that it looks like it's a different version than the Steam version.
Interesting. I did not realize that. Yeah, I should change it to the Android or to the Google Play Store.
Yeah, I'm just leaving myself a note.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, it's a visual novel kind of dating sim type.
It's supposed
thing.
to be, from what I've read, one of the at least the full version, I should say, is one of the better visual novels. It's not the cream of the crop from what I've read, but it's rated pretty highly overall.
I mean, it was great as far as visual novels go. One of the problems that I have with visual novels a lot is they don't have good music. And If My Heart Had Wings has some excellent music and other sound effects and sound design, which was very refreshing. A lot of times, you don't get sound effects in any of these games. You just get music, sometimes different music, sometimes the same music the whole time. But there's a lot of music. The music helped to set the tone for a lot of the conversations that happen and for the story at large. And it's just a very nice slice of life visual novel with some dating elements in it. I said dating sim a few minutes ago. It's not really a dating sim. There's just, although that could be the difference in the full version and the limited version.
I think the full version has more storylines from what I read real quick between the two. I could be mistaken on that one though.
Yeah, the mobile version really focuses on a lot of the story revolving around the girl in the wheelchair.
Yeah, I think the full version has a branching story.
Yeah, there's different people that you meet and can interact with and kind of choose a little bit who to pursue, but there's definitely not as many characters as there are in the Steam version. So I guess that's the difference. There's just more of the stories available in the Steam version.
Yeah, I'm just double checking myself on that one to make sure that there's different paths on the Steam version. The Steam version says it has 20 to 30 hours of gameplay, so that probably tells you right there that it's more story there.
Yeah, like I said, I've played it for about 6 hours. Most of the story has revolved around the girl in the wheelchair, but there are other girls that you meet, so maybe that's it. Maybe that's the difference. It was a 500 megabyte game on my phone. I was like,
that's actually pretty meaty
for a visual novel. That's huge.
I imagine a lot of that's probably music.
I was gonna say I suspect a lot of it is music, but I mean it's great. You can try out the game for free on Android, probably on iTunes as well. And then if you like it, I would recommend buying the Steam version.
Yeah,
I'm trying
to find a flow chart for this because that's usually how they handle walkthroughs for visual novels.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, now that I've gotten a taste of it and realized that there is a big difference in the two versions, I'm definitely going to buy this on Steam.
And we do have the summer sale coming up.
We do. This will probably be one of the visual novels I buy from the summer sale. Usually I buy like 5 or 6 and then play through them all. But between now and or between sales.
Yeah, I'm just trying to confirm this. And there's definitely multiple paths here.
Supposedly though the Steam version has some censorship. I didn't run into
there's supposed to be a patch or a workaround on that. Yeah, let's see, there's Kotie, which is the girl in the wheelchair, right?
Yes.
And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4 other branches, which some of them require other paths to be completed.
Okay.
So it does suggest multiple playthroughs, even though it looks like some of them are very short, or at least to get to them is very short. I'm not sure. That's the thing, is that it's always very deceptive on these, just how long the story is going to be, because usually to go into a particular story branch, it's only a few choices.
Yeah. This is a game I'd probably buy the soundtrack for. It was really good. I normally don't care about game soundtracks. Like, if it's good, it's good. If it's not, I just kind of ignore it. Yeah. I was looking at that. That's what made me think about it. But yeah, the girl who announces the start of the game is super cute. Her voice is super cute. It's just nice. It's really nice. So, Yep.
And you get to see the screenshots on Steam. There's definitely different girls that he's going after.
Yeah.
So that pretty much clears that one up.
Yep.
So this is basically essentially a demo.
Yeah. I guess that's what it is a demo. I mean, it's really good. You can still get a good chunk of the story that way. So, and there's no ads either. There's no ads.
That's actually really surprising.
Because this is an expensive visual novel. It's $15 if you buy it on Steam.
That's not an expensive visual novel. That's a cheap visual novel.
A lot of visual novels on Steam are less than $10. I know that there are more expensive ones, but I mean, $15 is kind of middle of the road.
Search Clonad.
Search what?
Clonad is one of the visual novels that is pretty much like the gold standard for visual novels.
Okay.
It is $50. It's actually on your wish list.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay. I'm searching for it, but how do you spell it?
Clannad. It actually had an anime about it as well. But I'm pretty sure it only went down one story branch. But this is also a 100-hour game.
Yeah. Okay, yep, it is on my wish list. There's a lot of visual novels that I own and are also on my wish list. Like, I love visual novels. I really do. A whole lot. I really like them.
Yeah, they're good to just chill out and read.
Yep, I'll probably play through a couple of visual novels that I haven't played through yet this week while my wife is still gone.
Yeah, when I'm not grabbing for Terraria.
Well, that's smart, right? Opus isn't a visual novel. Sorry, I'm browsing through the visual novel tag on Steam.
We're getting off subject again?
Yep.
Already?
Yep. Okay, but those are the games that I played, so...
Yeah, and we're only at the hour-and-a-half mark right now.
Yeah. Oh.
This is what happens when we have a short episode, or I shouldn't say a short episode, but cut things out of the previous episode.
I mean, we're going to have a games-centric episode this week, it seems, which is nice. We don't always do those. Normally we have very news-heavy and news discussion-heavy episodes is usually what we do. But it's nice to have a big games episode every once in a while.
Yeah, just bullshitting about games, which was the alternate title for this podcast.
One of them. We had a huge list.
Yeah, or what was another one? Wait, that's a podcast?
I don't remember. I'm just so happy that Video Game Logic was not taken so we could take it. I spread the good word about our podcast on Reddit this week.
Oh, really?
Every once in a while I do that. You know, I try not to spam places.
I'm not good at spamming the podcast around.
But, you know, every few episodes I'll usually post on Reddit somewhere. And this week I posted it, and someone was like, holy shit, that's the best name for video game podcast I've ever heard. How is that not taken? And I was like, well, I mean, it is now, but I don't know how it wasn't taken either. Oh, and speaking of spreading the good word about our podcast, in case you don't follow us on Twitter, we're on Google Play now. So
yeah, it seems like Google runs a lot faster than Apple.
Yep, I spent 3 hours trying to fix our RSS feed so that Google Play would accept it, because iTunes and Google Play want two very different things, and because I suck at making RSS feeds, it took me a while to get it worked out where it would work for both.
We are sure that the RSS feed is still operational, right?
Yes, it's still working.
Okay.
I made sure of that. So we've already received 26 listens from Google Play.
Oh, wow.
Although I'm not sure if we got one listen per episode as it like archived them. But regardless, I mean, we've only got in total.
That's still more listens than we have episodes.
I was going to say, yeah, in total, it's still more listens than we have episodes. So some people have already found us on Google Play. So yay.
So it was a good suggestion to go there.
It was. It definitely was. There's a lot. I spent some time actually browsing the podcast section of Google Play Music, And there's not a lot of stuff there compared to, iTunes or...
Which is all the more reason to go there.
Exactly, because it's more likely people will find us if they just search for video games on there.
Well, as soon as people figure out, wait, Google has a podcast section?
Apparently, they're growing pretty quickly in comparison to other podcast services that do exist. Like, their growth rate is much larger than other...
Yeah, what was kind of weird is going back to some of the places I used to get podcasts from and just seeing graveyards.
Yeah. Oh, hey, we've got
sites that are completely neglected, feeds that, you go to their top listened feeds and the latest episodes from like 3 years ago.
Fun times, yeah. Occasionally I go and search for new podcasts, and it's like, when was their last episode? Oh, 2008. Never mind. I don't want to listen to them.
I remember 2008. Barely.
But yeah, we've already got 2 subscribers through Google Play.
Oh, wow.
According to
welcome
our
Google
analytics.
Play listeners.
Yeah, welcome Google
Assuming
Play
that you sat through all those games that we randomly played.
Yeah, if you did that, or if you're just waiting for the new episode to come out, halfway through, welcome.
And if you want to contribute to this nonsense...
You can do so over at patreon.com/VGL podcast.
Well, actually, I was going to go for the email.
Oh, yeah. You can do that too.
But money does help as well.
I mean, we're consummate professionals now.
Yeah, we've officially gotten paid from Patreon.
We have $9.18, or was it 8 cents? I don't remember. $9 in some amount of cents that was less than 50.
$9 and a lot more cents than we have.
Yeah, that's a lot more than we've made from this podcast in the past. So, thank you to.
Well, I was talking cents in a different type.
Oh, I gotcha. Regardless, thank you, listeners who love us and support us with your money. We very much appreciate it.
So, should we get to the news?
Yeah. Let's get to the news. Since
how about Blizzard fighting the Tods?
Blizzard trying to stop Rule 34 online. Ain't gonna happen.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we should be perfectly honest. At least everything I've seen, there's no definitive proof that it is Blizzard themselves. It's another company that is putting out these DMCA notices. That said, Blizzard has done some stupid things in the past.
I think it's Blizzard because they are removing the system that a lot of people have been using to make these porn GIFs and videos from. I forget what it was called, but it just
Source
lets you...
Filmmaker?
Is it Source?
Yeah,
no.
a lot of this is made. What they're after, what they're going after. They're not. Here's the thing: is that they're not going after all the porn. They're going after a very specific genre of porn that is made through Source Filmmaker via ripped models that have then been edited to make them, clothing impaired.
That's a very nice way to say that. Maybe I just misread it because I didn't think that it was Source Filmmaker that was.
Yeah, Source Filmmaker. The Source Filmmaker is actually very versatile.
Maybe I just read something that somebody didn't know what the hell they were talking about. Maybe that's why because I'm very familiar with Source Filmmaker. I love stuff, all the WoW videos that have been made using Source Filmmaker.
Yeah, so Source Filmmaker, like I said, is a very versatile thing, and since it's a free program, you're able to really experiment with it, and people have been starting to make porn with it.
Yep.
Which is the problem here, because Blizzard, or at least someone, I'm trying to find the company exactly that is sending out the DMCAs. It is Intercro USA Incorporated. Patrick O'Connor, to be exact, is the name that's on the DMCA listing. Which is obviously not Blizzard, but here's the thing: is that this company is a tech security company, if I recall correctly, which has had clients like Blizzard in the past, so it is possible that it's still Blizzard behind the scenes working through another company So yeah, the blowback can't come to them directly. But the reason why they're going after this, at least here's the speculation on everyone, is that they're trying to protect their copyright, and because these source film videos are made with the base model from Overwatch, usually pulled out of the beta version of Overwatch when the open beta came out. The source filmmaker porn Overwatch videos exploded, and then kind of exploded again when the whole Tracer's ass thing went just viral.
Oh yeah, Tracer's ass porn.
Oh, trust me, there's a lot of Tracer's ass out there. Let's just put it this way. Looking at different articles for this, I've seen some high quality porn from Overwatch and not even trying to find it. That's the fun part. The article I wanted to link to originally, let's just put it this way. It was behind an age gate for a reason.
There we go. That's better. There's you some Tracer's butt right there.
Oh, I've seen a lot more than that.
I just typed Tracer's ass into Google, and that was in the first few results. I was like, that's actually kind of cute, instead of just being like, I don't know, ridiculous. But yeah, I've already seen my fair share of Overwatch porn.
Not even trying, and that's the thing. Is that
in like the 10 minutes,
it's gotten so popular.
Yeah, like the 10 minutes before we started recording.
Goodbye, child-friendly rating, huh?
Absolutely.
So Blizzard is just trying. One side of the argument is that they're just trying to protect their copyright because a lot of this is made with their assets, if you pardon the term right there.
Hey-o.
But then here comes the catch. That pesky thing called fair use. Because porn made from Overwatch's assets, once again, pardon the term, is a transformative piece of work. But where things get kind of muddy is there's also the obscenity side of things, where obscenity is not considered a free speech in the United States. So where does Overwatch porn come to play? And I'm sure we're going to get an audio letter next week from Kyle on this, so we're just going to prepare for that.
Kyle, give us the legalities of that.
But from everything I've read, this falls under fair use because it is transformative, and unless Blizzard has nude models in their game, they have changed these models. And if Blizzard does have nude models in their game, the internet would have just lost their shit because remember, what was it? 10, well, actually more like 15 years ago with Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, there was a texture that you weren't able to find in the game. I think this was during in the hot coffee mod as well, that had nipples on it. And the internet just lost their fucking mind. And also Oblivion, Elder Scrolls Oblivion, also had a texture that you literally could not access without botting the game, that had nipples. And once again, the internet lost their fucking mind and actually changed the rating on that game until they put out another version of it. So, unless Blizzard had somehow done some sort of hackery where this model is so hidden, I don't think they have nude models in this game. So that makes me think this is transformative just by editing the models to make them clothing impaired.
To have wardrobe malfunctions.
Oh, trust me, these aren't malfunctions.
I'm not sure. So I'm not sure if it's transformative or not, because it's very tough.
Well, I think where this would really fall into is really parody, though.
Does porn count as a parody, though, as a transformative property?
Well,
I suppose there have been porn parodies
the parody
made.
porn titles.
Yeah. There have been lots of porn parodies made. Typically, though, porn parodies make some significant changes to the source material. Like I remember,
I'm pretty
once,
sure Tracer doesn't run around butt naked.
That's true, but I'm not sure if you would say removing the clothes to be enough of a change.
Yeah, true.
To make it.
But this is also the difference between an IP and assets from a game.
Yeah. I think what they're doing is perhaps they're trying to protect their copyright or their trademarks or whatever related to it.
But here's the thing is that they're triggering the Streisand effect doing it.
I know, that's what I was saying. They might be trying to do that. What I think they're trying to do, and they fucked up because they've really screwed the pooch when it comes to a PR the last few months, is they're trying to get this out of the public eye. Like, they don't want people to search for Overwatch and in the top results there be porn results. I don't think they want that, but the problem is in doing so, they've just made it more popular for other people. It's the Streisand effect. I think that's what they're actually trying to do, and they've just
they're trying to clean up Overwatch, and doing so, instead of throwing water on it, they threw gasoline. Yeah,
I think that the porn being made of it is actually a sign of two things. One, how popular it is. Porn parodies.
Well, let's put it this way: how hard is it to find porn of Battleborn, which is, by the way, a potential new whipping boy for us?
Battleborn porn. Google image search. I don't know if this is from Battleborn or not. I got some regular porn. Yeah, I don't really think any of this is porn. I got some stuff for Battleborn, but it's not porn, and then I got some regular porn.
And then there's Google going, wait, somebody's actually searching for Battleborn?
Nope, that's just regular porn. Yeah, nope, this is all just regular porn here. Nothing to see. Move along. Oh, wait, there's one pornographic image. One. So, anyways, yeah, I think
Battleborn.
I think that the porn...
It may replace Evolve for us. Man, we can't forget about Evolve then. Well, I think we're the only people that haven't forgotten about Evolve.
Hi-yo. Anyways, the point I'm trying to make. I think the porn is signifying two things. One, how popular it is. Popular things get porn made of them. Battleborn's not popular. It doesn't have any porn. But, you search for popular games. Halo, Mass Effect, Call of Duty. You can find porn of those. World of Warcraft, there's porn of that. Well, there's porn of Overwatch because it's popular. And two, Overwatch is very, very artistically beautiful. They have very unique...
Yeah, they have a good art style.
They have an amazing art style. And I think that that's also part of the reason why there's so much porn for Overwatch, because the art style in it is just gorgeous. Yes, you can find Halo and Mass Effect porn, but there's less of that than there is of Overwatch porn. Trust me, I've looked. I can confirm this from experience. There's lots of Halo porn, but there's a lot more Overwatch porn.
Looking for that particular upgrade for Cortana?
Halo's been out for over a decade, and Overwatch has been out for, over a week? I guess a couple of months if you count the beta period. So, I think that the porn is a good thing. And Blizzard has just, screwed up.
I think Blizzard is kind of out of touch these days.
Yeah.
Between this, the Tracer's ass problem that we had, what was it, early May, around where the porn for Overwatch just spiked anyway. The legacy servers with World of Warcraft that we had on the Franken episode, if I recall correctly.
I'm sorry. I'm scrolling through the results for Battleborn porn. There's Overwatch porn in here. Okay. I'm done.
Battleborn, it can't even get its own porn. Overwatch still overtakes it there as well.
I'll close the tab now. I'll go back to paying attention. For now. Anyways, you were saying.
Yeah, I was talking about how Blizzard is just so out of touch with their own gamer base, it seems, these days. Between the two issues that we've had with Overwatch in the last 2 months. The WoW Legacy servers, and I'll even go as far to say that changing their lore for the World of Warcraft movie is kind of there as well, just because the people that they really want to see that movie would want to have the original lore and not the altered version. Granted, we are doing this, I think, before the movie comes out, or it's just come out.
The movie comes out on the 10th, I believe.
Okay, I wasn't sure on the release date. I wasn't sure on that release date, but there's been articles coming out saying that they've changed the lore for the movie, which once again is Blizzard or whoever. Well, Blizzard has the final say on this, or at least they should, on the storyline for the movie. So them okaying the changes to that when they have the strongest lore really in most of video gaming. It just it screams to me that Blizzard is out of touch with what their fans want. But then again, we just think we want that. What do we know?
Yeah. Overwatch is another example of that on a little bit of a different turn, which we may have talked about this before. But, I mean, Overwatch is part of several released games here lately that are very bright and colorful and vibrant. And, I mean, for so long, for most of the last generation and the beginning of this generation, the console cycle generation, we had games that were brown. They were brown and gray and drab. I remember
when Team Fortress 2 came out, which is a similar art style. It's not nearly as bright as Overwatch's. But I remember a lot of people commenting how it looks like a cartoon and completely writing it off because of that.
Yeah. Because,
things have kind of come full circle.
We had this era where people were chasing realism, and so everything was very brown and pastel, and now we're back to games being colorful and bright and wonderful, and for so long the market was like, no, you don't want that, you want this, you want generic soldier and brown, and we're like, no, actually we want a colorful, crazy, bright, chrome thing with big tits and an ass, and that's what we want.
Export to Source Filmmaker and make porn out of.
Yeah, that's exactly what we want. And, developers are figuring that out. And so there's being a lot more colorful, bright, shiny games instead of drab, dull pastels. Which there's nothing wrong with pastels. It's just for so long, that's all we had from major game developers.
Well, game development, especially in the AAA area, goes in cycles where I think we're getting to the point where we're seeing a lot more of these more colorful games, and we'll not see as much of realism. But after a while, we'll swing back the other way.
I think pretty soon we're going to start swinging back, if we haven't already, away from more multiplayer-only games. I mean, yes, those are still going to exist, but I feel like a lot more games here recently have come out with single players.
Multiplayer games that has a stronger single-player focus.
Yeah, because for a while there...
Battleborn, for all of us making fun of it, does have a very strong single-player component. Granted, nobody, I think, really bought Battleborn for the single-player component. It was more people going into it for the multiplayer, and they have to play through the single-player for it, which I think is a detriment to their player base. And they're also doing their usual thing of having the long music video to begin the story, and that was played out, in my opinion, with Borderlands 2. Borderlands
did a really good job with it, but yes, they... Yeah.
Well, I've seen the opening cutscene for Battleborn on Boogie's stream, and it was more thinking, okay, when are they going to get to the gameplay? When are they going to get to the gameplay? Where the fuck is the gameplay? This is supposed to be a game, right?
I really liked the 12-minute ad that they did, actually. I really liked that. I thought it was very colorful and unique. But, yes.
Yeah, but the thing is that you get a game to shoot things, or at least, a shooter. So you don't really want to sit through an hour of music video. At least in my opinion. I could be wrong on that.
If it's good, I'll watch it. If I can fap to it. Hey-o.
Sorry, it's not Overwatch. This is Battleborn, remember?
Touche.
I have to wonder,
What do you have to
with all
wonder?
the source filmmaker stuff out there, has anybody gone the other direction and and imported the altered models into Overwatch?
Interesting. Probably there's somebody who's done it.
Well, also we don't know what Overwatch does for their tamper proofing.
Yeah, but I bet there's somebody who's done it.
If not, then it's going to be done.
I'm sure this is going to give me more porn, but I'm googling Overwatch nude models in game. Let's see if we get more porn.
Of course, you're going to get more porn. I mean, the internet's built for it.
The internet is for porn. Porn. Well, that's some. Yep, that's some Overwatch porn. Yep, that is. Oh, that's some more porn.
And I'm just filling out potential episode titles.
The Overwatch is for porn. Oh, there's more porn. Tracer's got a dick in that one.
Not my thing, but I'm not one to judge.
Yeah, I could get into it. This article does not say. It's just lots of porn and then links to even more porn. And that's all the Overwatch porn I'm going to look at for now. Maybe later. I'll look at some more. Are you ready to move down the topics list?
Oh, my.
Oh, you ready to slide down it?
I'm looking forward to hearing what Kyle has to say about this, because he's basically our law correspondent at this point, isn't he?
Yeah, he's our law
I was
correspondent.
tempted to try to bash him on the head and bring him on here today.
Yeah. Interested in law and interested in aeromorphs. And now, Overwatch porn.
Yeah, I should send you the article that I was thinking about using, because it has some GIFs in it.
Well, I mean, I watched some actual porn videos earlier when I was researching this. So
that's what you call it.
I mean, I could check out the GIFs, but I saw some actual animated porn videos, like 5-minute long videos that I scrolled through. So. Okie dokie. So this week's Community Corner.
It has a double disc of Kyle.
Yep, we've got 2 audio letters from Kyle.
Yeah, and that's about it. I will say that I did edit out some of the tweets this week, because it was mostly a comment thread between you and Kyle talking about Factorio.
Yeah.
And we already covered most of what was said there anyway.
Yeah. Okie dokie. Let's see. Which one is first? Shoot, because he doesn't... You take the notes.
The first one was him talking about the NDAs.
Okay. All right, so let's hear Kyle tell us all about NDA stuff related to Kerbal Space Program.
Greetings, Caffeine Rage and J. Arthur. This is Kyle, and I'd like to hop on and give my 2 cents about this whole squad debacle. And I figure if I'm going to be talking about this somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 weeks late, I better have something interesting to say, so here we go. It's another brief overview of how the legal system works. So, the events that have come to light, such as the pay and working conditions, have come out due to an NDA, or non-disclosure agreement, expiring. But what exactly is an NDA, and how did it stop people from speaking out against Squad? Well, at its core, an NDA is exactly what it says on the tin. It's a contract that is drawn up between 2 parties, usually a company and an employee, that states that the employee will not disclose certain things about how the company operates, what they're developing, that sort of thing, both while they're working for the company and for a short time after leaving the company. NDAs can be signed for a number of reasons, most of them innocuous, such as you're developing a new product for a company and they don't want any sort of technological breakthroughs that they've developed to get into the hands of a competing company, or you work for some company that makes a lot of money and that company doesn't want to release their quarterly data early because they don't want to give anybody an unfair advantage in the market. So getting back to the meat and potatoes of the issue, how does this apply to Squad? Well, without actually taking a look at it, the short answer is I don't know. The long form answer is here's my guess. They say the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and I believe that is exactly where this idea started. Something that was meaning well, but ultimately got turned into something much, much worse. See, back when KSP started, this was a fairly revolutionary idea, no pun intended, about how you could make a game to teach orbital mechanics in a fun way, and an NDA would prevent the employees working on the game from disclosing exactly how they were coding the bits of code before they came out in a released version. So, as far as corporate law goes, that would fall under what's called practices and policies, which they were trying to keep secret because it's not an actual product, it's just the way that they're choosing to interact with the engine to code the software. So, how does that translate into keeping quiet about pay? Well, if you write something vague enough and general enough, you can basically include anything you want to in practices and policies. Now, again, I haven't actually gotten a chance to take a look at the squad NDA, and after this whole debacle, I seriously doubt I'm going to get to see the actual NDA that anybody signed. So, what does this mean for squad? Well, I can't really say right now because, again, I don't think there's enough information from either side. Squad is being incredibly tight lipped about this, and currently it's boiling down to essentially a corporate version of he said, she said, and that's not going anywhere. Try to think of it like this. It's like trying to stop a ship from sinking by sponging up the water that's pouring in and then wringing it out overboard. If you do it fast enough and you're diligent about it, you can stop your ship from going down for a little while. But eventually the water is going to catch up with you and your ship is going down. So this could be that, but it could also just be a pissed off former employee. So at the end of the day, this really only affects the people who are interested in finding out what Squad is up to. The people who have already bought the game, well, they already have their money and their support from the time at which they bought the game, and the people who will buy the game are going to buy it on the merit of the game. So long as KSP remains a game that people want to buy, this really isn't going to affect Squad, which is a little bit sad. So, anyways, that's my 2 cents on it, and I've already heard your 2 cents, but, yay, that was a fun little walk through the legal system. Alright, y'all, have a good night.
And that was Kyle. Thanks for telling us all about NDAs and Kerbal Space Program. Rach, our official scribe, note taker, I rely on you.
Yeah, well, he was really going into what we already covered several weeks ago when we talked about Squad. So there's not a lot to talk about. Mostly, he did just bring up the good point that a lot of the NDA that may have started off with good intentions and just was written vaguely enough that they were able to exploit it for other means, which may be the way that Squad's gotten away with this. Assuming that is, of course, there is something to get away with because we still don't know anything. We know more about No Man's Sky than we do about this situation.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they are playing their cards close to the chest. And I mean, as I don't blame them for doing that. I think that's, as a company, that's the best way to handle this, is just let it blow over from a, business perspective. But I really, really want to know the truth. And I don't think that we will, at least not for some time to come. And by the time we find out, it won't matter.
Well, Kyle does have the point that for both of us, it doesn't matter unless they start producing DLC.
Yeah. I will say, when we've talked about this before, like, I don't know if I can separate we've said, I don't know if we can separate the company from the game now, and we'll just have to see how it goes. I've actually thought about playing KSP a couple of times over the past couple of weeks. Like, oh yeah, KSP would be fun to play. And then I went, nah, Squad's kind of scummy right now. I don't feel like playing it, or I'm not going to play it anymore. So I officially cannot separate my feelings from the company about or from my enjoyment of the game.
Is that going to keep you from doing Kerbalcast stuff?
I don't know. That really
granted, Kerbalcast does have to actually record an episode first.
Yeah, that hasn't really been a problem.
Sorry, Podfather.
They haven't recorded in, 3-4 weeks at this point?
3 weeks. They're going on 4 if they don't record this week.
Which, I mean, they've been busy. It's fine.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah, they only had a co-host that changed continents.
Yeah, shit happens. So, that's fine. I
imagine it is tough to get a badger through customs.
Probably. Yeah, live animals they don't like those going through customs very much. At least not on a plane. But no, I think I'd be okay because I would have a reason to do it. It's like, well, this sucks, but I have a duty to perform for the podcast, so I can do it. It's just like personal enjoyment has dropped. And it just hasn't been enough time.
I think the main reason why I haven't really dove into KSP lately is just I play a heavily modded game, and I know that another patch is coming soon for some major bug fixing. So I don't want to set up all that just to complete the summoning ritual and summon the new patch in.
Right. I mean, I also play
I don't think
games.
I don't think it's impacted my personal enjoyment of the game because I do enjoy space stuff. But I think it's made me take pause of just recommending it out flat out to other people. Unless they are looking for exactly what KSP is.
Yeah. I do tend to play games in spells. So, like, I will obsess over a game for months and then not play it for a long time. Like,
really? I hadn't noticed.
Kerbal Space Program I played for 500 hours over the course of 3 or 4 months. And then really kind of started thinning out how much I played it.
It sounds like you just burn yourself out of a game, then move on to the next.
It's not exactly burnout most of the time. It does sound an awful lot like burnout. How can I explain it? It's like I love a game.
You get your fill.
I get my fill of it, and it's not that I don't enjoy the game, not that I don't want to go back and play it, but it's like something else comes along and it's like, oh, you're the next thing that's going to come fill me up for a while. Because, I mean, I did that with, for example,
Well, you did see Tracer with the dick.
I did. And I want her to put her dick inside me. What? Anyways, I mean, the most recent
Goodbye, child-friendly rating.
The most recent game that I came back to after obsessing over like that was Space Engineers. I played Space Engineers for like 100 hours, put like, I think 10 or 12 videos of it on my YouTube channel. Didn't play it for a few months. The most recent update came out, or I guess it was the update before last, because before I went on my trip. And I played it for 12 or 13 hours. And I started a new game, new world, and I want to keep playing it, but Factorio came, and, Factorio is my obsession right now. I'm 95 hours
Space
in.
Engineers ran like shit on my computer.
Well, Space Engineers, the new update, fucked it up even worse.
Wow.
Instead of fixing it, they made it worse.
I'm glad I didn't just, bite the bullet and say, it runs decently enough, because it did for space-based maps. It was the planets that were completely trash.
No, I can't play planets anymore. I'm
glad I didn't say, this is good enough.
I get like 20 FPS on planets on a good day if I turn all of the settings down. And then on space stations, or, on space maps, I get around 35 FPS. Whereas before, I was getting a nice smooth 60 all the time in space, and then planets were, 30s to 40s. Damn. So instead of fixing it, they broke it, and they haven't fixed it since.
Which is a shame, because Space Engineers is something I would love to dive into. It's just,
On that note, though, I'm really excited. I noticed the 970s and the 980s have had a 10% price drop.
Yeah, and also AMD just announced a fairly cheap card that's supposed to have some really good specs on it. Granted, I am waiting to see benchmarks on that, though.
Yeah, probably around Thanksgiving, because there's actually a lot of really good tech deals for Black Friday. I probably will pick up a 970, unless they drop to sub 300 before then, in which case I'm just going to buy one at that point. Although I might wait and see what the 980 is like. I mean, a 970 would be plenty for me and what I do, but I mean, if I get a 980 cheap enough, why not?
Yeah, I'm going to wait until I see benchmarks on the 480 from AMD, the $200 card there.
I'm not sure. AMD, you said 480? 4800?
No. It's the brand new AMD card that they just announced in the last. It's the AMD RX 480. Literally just announced.
RMX 480. Yeah, I haven't seen anything about it.
It's supposed to be a fairly powerful $200 card, 4 gigs of RAM on it, with an 8 gig model in the 250 range.
This article says AMD's new RX 480 graphics card will let you VR for just $199, which means it's at least as powerful as a GTX 970. So, I mean, if benchmarks on that come out and it's comparable to a 970...
Let's just put it this way. I tweeted out saying, AMD, you have my attention.
Yeah, I mean, if the benchmarks on it look good, I would absolutely get an AMD card. I mean, I've always had NVIDIA, but...
I don't really consider myself brand loyal to any side. It's whatever gives me the best bang for the buck, and that's usually AMD.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm not really brand loyal. I have stuck to NVIDIA stuff for a long time because NVIDIA is always a lot better about supporting their cards for the long term in terms of driver updates and optimization, driver optimizations. So usually that's why I pick NVIDIA, but I mean...
I will say that this AMD card looks so old school with the single fan on it.
Yeah. Even actually the 750, my 750 might have a single fan. Welcome to the PC-centric portion of the podcast, springing off of our audio letter from Kyle about legal stuff resulting...
How the hell did we get here?
Who knows, man? Who knows? I would love to see a flowchart. If someone really has some free time on their hands, I would love for you to make us a flowchart that shows how we so quickly get off topics and onto other things.
It would just have a bunch of scribbles and a giant question mark.
My card does only have a single fan. I thought it had two, but it's only got one.
Yeah, mine I think has two on it.
There is a version of the 750 that does have two fans, but...
I was heading over to Reddit to double-check the name of the card to be able to give you the search results. And I did notice that there's a Steam controller sale going on
nice.
on GameStop, which is probably about the only thing that GameStop would offer that I'd be interested in.
Nope, fuck up. I'm not going to buy it. I don't buy things from GameStop anymore. I'll just deal with that, with not having my Steam controller yet. I wonder if the Steam controller will be on sale for the summer sale.
No idea. That would be something to buy. But here's the thing is that you'd be hit with a major amount of shipping through Steam.
That's true.
Now, if Amazon was to price match it...
That would be nice. Because I'm a Prime member, so I just get free shipping on it.
Well, see, I don't have Prime. Well, I could always pick up a couple other things and get over the threshold.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, yes, the GTX 970, 309.49 right now. They're down just over. Is it just over? Would it be just under 10%? Sorry, but I mean, roughly 10%. So, if it drops sub 300. I'll probably buy it unless it's like right there or close to Black Friday, in which case I'll just wait. But
I'm probably going to get a video card over the summer. It's just a question of what.
Yeah. I mean, my 750 is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's just...
well, mine, my 7800 series is showing its age.
Yeah, my 750 is probably going to start showing its age in the next year or so. And it would be nice... Because, even though a 970 or a 980 at this point is now going to be old tech, for me and the type of games that I play, it's going to be future-proofing. So I'll probably have it until my PC just outright dies and I have to replace the whole thing. But, so let's get this right back on track.
Oh, right, audio letters.
For 2 more minutes. Or however long Kyle's next audio letter is, like 5 or 6 minutes. Let's listen to Kyle tell us about some fun facts that he looked up about the history of video games.
Greetings, J. Arthur and Caffeine Rage. This is Kyle, and I did some interesting research this week that has to do with statistics, history, and just generally video games. So, yeah, let's do this. There's a saying, I don't remember exactly how it goes, but it's you don't convince people of your new way of viewing the world. You just wait for the people who have the old worldview to die off. And this is popular in scientific theories and other historical and sociological phenomenon. I think it can also be said to be true about video games, and the year that video gamers are going to take the majority of the population by age in America is coming up fairly soon, or at least an important year in it. So, a quick bit of Google Foo is telling me that Americans are living to be about 80 nowadays, and that's just a statistical average of all Americans currently alive. So, that means that once the population hits a little bit over 40, so let's say 45 for good measure, of people who grew up with video games, and very specifically, and I'll get into that, after the year 1985, that means that we're going to very quickly have been the first generation to completely grow up with video games being the norm. Okay, so what do I mean grow up with? Well, my cutoff for this is you had to be at least 5 in 1985, which means you would have had to have been born by about 1980. So when did the people born in 1980 turn 45? That's going to be in 2025. But why 1985? Well, that is where we get into the interesting bit of history. So buckle up, this is going to be a very quick overview of the crash and then rebirth of video games in the US of A. Okay, so in 1972, a company called Atari Incorporated, and basically they invented the home video game market, which was capitalizing on the idea of home entertainment, and they marketed it as fun for the whole family, and they put out a lot of first-party games, but also towards the end of the life cycle, in about 1983 of this entire company, they allowed third-party developers to start developing, and they came out with a lot of terrible games, culminating around Christmas time 1983 with E.T. for the Atari 600. Now, that was just kind of the final nail in the coffin. The industry up until that point had had a lot of stress fractures in it from shovelware, shoddy development, and just generally being hoodwinked by the novel idea that not all video games could be good. So after the bubble burst in 1983, video games were functionally dead in America. Well, at least home video games were. The arcades were still fairly popular at this time. That having been said, a company called Nintendo came up with the idea of a new way to market their video game system in America. Rather than advertise it as an electronic video game console, which had so much ill will generated toward it in the American public, they marketed it as a toy. And in doing this, they were able to basically trick consumers into buying something they didn't know they wanted until they had it. And so by doing that, they reinvigorated the whole video games market. So anybody playing video games now can basically thank Nintendo, and they released their NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System, in 1985, which is why I used that as my cutoff year. So what does this all mean? Well, kind of a whole lot of nothing. It's just an interesting find that the year that the gamers become the age majority in America is coming up pretty soon. I mean, 2025, that's 9 years away. And I don't know, it's just kind of an interesting point. Anyways, I hope this spurs on some discussion. Looking forward to hearing y'all talk about it. Alright, y'all have a good night now.
Okay, there's Kyle telling us some neat facts about history.
Yeah, and Kyle making me feel old.
Oh.
I mean, usually it's just you that makes me feel old, but now Kyle?
Yep.
Yeah, my first game system that got me into video games was the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Yeah, actually,
with the Mario and Duck Hunt multi-pack. That fucking dog.
The first game system that I remember playing was a Nintendo Entertainment System, but I know, my parents have told me, and there's pictures and home videos of me playing our SNES. So that was my first one, but the first one I actually remember was the NES.
The NES, not just saving gaming in the US, or I should say letting it bounce back a lot sooner. I think video games would have come back nonetheless. It's just the NES was bringing it back sooner than other places because it didn't have to crash in Japan, or I think Europe still was okay as well.
It also didn't have the same kind of effect in the PC gaming space because
Yeah.
PC gaming didn't even see a dip based on if I'm remembering correctly, from some things that I've read and some articles that have speculated on the same thing. I mean, PC gaming didn't seem to take much of a knock, if one at all. It was just the home console market that took the brunt of the game crash. And yeah, I agree with you. Eventually, they would have came back anyways. It's just Nintendo ushered it back in the United States.
Yeah, it was some very clever marketing.
Yes.
But not just that, is that the Nintendo Entertainment System really set up the groundwork for modern-day Nintendo. I mean, how many of the franchises started on the NES that is still active today?
Most of them? I mean, right off the top of my head, I know Zelda, Metroid, and Mario all started on the original NES. And those have been, not Metroid so much with this
but Mario's been
but
Nintendo's bread and butter for decades.
Decades, yeah.
And not just the main Mario series, but branching it off into Mario Kart, Mario Party. I wonder, does Mario have a game where he works on plumbing?
I don't know.
That would be weird, wouldn't it?
Yeah, let's see. Does Mario have a game where he works on plumbing? Overwatch porn. I'm joking. I am joking. According to this article, no actual game has shown Mario as a plumber. But he has been shown doing many various other things, such as carpentry, racing, bowling, golfing,
so Mario,
playing tennis.
I'm going to guess that Mario isn't a plumber. He just says he's a plumber.
The only time, according to this article, the only time...
I think he has the skills of a plumber in a porn video.
The only time, according to this, that he's ever done plumbing was in the...
old Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
It says Mario was portrayed as engaging in plumbing in the live-action segments of the Mario Brothers cartoon. So...
Well, that's the old TV show for Mario Brothers.
Yep. But there's never been a game where Mario was a plumber.
The animated intro, if I recall correctly, this was when I was really little, was when it was on. They got into Mushroom Kingdom by unclogging a bathtub, if I recall correctly. So they were actually plumbing there.
In the cartoon.
In the animated intro to the show.
But not in the games.
Yeah, not in the games.
Never a plumber. What were we talking about again?
The NES.
I was making a joke. So yeah, I mean, most of their big franchises started on the NES.
And trying to think of other ones. Donkey Kong started on the NES. Well, actually, it was an arcade game first, but it really took off on the NES. Granted, there's not been a lot of Donkey Kong lately.
No, I think my favorite Donkey Kong game is Donkey Kong 64. That was a good one.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. I didn't play a lot of it. I had a friend that had it. That was also the same friend that I borrowed Zelda Ocarina of Time from, and the save game corrupted. Right.
Sad day on that.
Yeah, and it actually took out his save as well, and he was kind of pissed with me.
Well, I mean, it's not like you did it on purpose. It just got fucked up.
Yeah, trust me, I wanted to play it.
So, were there any other things that you took notes about that Kyle said that...
The crash, and that was really about it. Oh, and also what I've talked about before is, we basically just have to wait for the older generation to die for video games to be more accepted. Well, even more so than what they are. You know, having people not scoff when they hear that your job is streaming video games online or making a podcast about video games becoming a lot cooler. Right?
Yeah.
It could be cool someday, right?
I think it's cool now. We're awesome and cool. Nobody can tell me any different. Well, I guess you can tell me, but I won't listen.
Well, that won't change then.
Actually, I mean, I've said that before too. Like, we've agreed on that that's just what's going to have to happen. I didn't think about or realize how close it was to us being the majority in that sense. He said 2025, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's not very far off. That's
9 years.
9 years. So within the next decade, we will become the majority. I wonder what the thing's going to be that we have to die off for to become cool.
I don't think we know yet.
Yeah, I don't think we know yet either. Because, I mean, some people might suggest VR, but, I mean, I think VR is cool. It's just right now it's not for me. But, I mean, I don't think there's anything
VR
wrong
still
with it.
feels very gimmicky.
I mean, it's in its infancy.
And I've also seen VR try to take off before.
I suppose you could say that VR has been in its infancy for a long time, but, I mean, this is VR. This is the real VR.
This is the Nintendo-made headache machine.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is the true infancy of VR, I think. But, I mean, a lot can happen over the course of the next few years as technology changes and things. But yeah, I think you're right. We haven't seen the thing yet that we're going to have to die off to be accepted. Which is kind of weird to think about, because I don't think of myself as being someone who rejects change or things like that. But, I mean, for most people, it happens. I mean, I might be someone that it doesn't, but I'm not going to be that arrogant and say that,
Yeah, it depends on how open you are to it.
Yeah, I'm not going to be so arrogant to say that, no, I will be always accepting of new things, because there might be something that makes me uncomfortable or that I don't agree with.
Well, it's never going to be Tracer's ass.
No, that always makes me comfortable. I totally agree with that.
Well, obviously you're not triggered by it.
Oh, I'm triggered. Wink. So, yeah. I don't... #agreeathon.
Well, to
But
be
that was
fair,
very
he started
interesting.
this time. Yeah, it was interesting that the date is actually so close.
Yeah. I mean, that was... I'm glad you did that, Kyle. That was very interesting. And
Yeah, there was a video I saw just earlier today with Pendulette on, I think it was The View. I'm not sure if it was a new video or not. It was him after he's lost his weight, which means it's in like the last year or so. Basically defending video games because they were the clucking chickens on there. Is that mean?
What?
Calling them just clucking chickens, just going off and chattering away about really nothing, trying to sound very, very important when they have absolutely no clue what the fuck they're talking about.
Wait, who's clucking chickens?
I'm gonna have to get you this video, and
Yeah, you're gonna
so
have
you can
to
see this.
Yeah.
Yeah, more elevator music so you can hear this. Now, was I being mean calling them clucking chickens?
No, that's a very apt description of them, clucking chickens. They're they're trying to sound important and play. I mean, they're playing to their audience, but
They're playing to the fears.
They do not realize who they have invited onto their show. They must not, because these are not the type of people that invite this sort of criticism and discussion.
And Pendulette is actually a very intelligent person.
I love Pendulette. He's amazing. I used to listen to his podcast, Sunday School.
Yeah.
But it went through some changes, and the formatting changed, and
Yeah, he's gone, especially around election time, he goes a lot more on the libertarian bandwagon, and it's a lot harder to listen to when he's going a lot more political.
yeah, he stands on his soapbox a lot, which, I think he's a very intelligent person who has a lot of good things to say, but it's like, I can only take so much.
Yeah, I've been skipping a few weeks.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have meandered back in here at some point by now, so yeah. Yeah, your description of them was proper, as clucking chickens. So, tweets?
Yeah. Well, should I add this to the show notes?
Yeah, you should, actually. I haven't watched the whole thing yet. I'm going to go back and finish it, but it's
This is Pendulette basically defending Call of Duty, but violent video games against three women that, honestly, they're scared of video games. They're scared of the new media.
Yeah, they are.
And they're trying to blame literally everything on video games. And they actually go further in the video. They talk about how someone with Asperger's would play a violent video game, and because they don't have the social skills, pick up that's the proper way to treat people is to shoot them.
I mean, I haven't seen the video, but I mean, what they're doing is they're cherry picking someone who has a mental condition.
Yeah,
I mean that's not the majority.
If someone has that
people.
severe of a mental condition, anything is going to be a trigger to them.
Yeah, if somebody has Asperger's or autism bad enough where that, they pick up social cues from playing violent video games, that's not the problem. The problem is they have a mental condition. And if someone who is taking care of them knows that, they're not going to put them in that situation anyways. It's just, that's a bullshit argument that they just made. Logical fallacy.
They're trying to play the boogeyman.
They are.
They know that their audience wants to hear about the scary video games, and they bring on somebody that they think that they could push around.
Yeah, they very clearly do not
and actually,
know.
this looks like it's an older video now that I look at Penn again, because he is a lot heavier than what he is nowadays.
Yeah.
But it's just disappointing to hear people that are still out there like this. But then again, these people are over the age limit where they would be the majority in a few years. They haven't grown up with this.
Yeah.
At least I'm fairly sure. I mean, granted, I have no idea who the fuck Wendy Williams is, let alone why she has a show.
One of them looks like she's in her 50s or 60s. One of them looks like she's probably in her 40s. But there's one of them that looks fairly young. I mean, it could be makeup.
See. Wendy Williams is 51 according to Google.
Well, who are the other people?
I have no idea who the other people are.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see. Who the fuck is this, and why the fuck should I care? Let's see. Oh, look, she's a shock jock. There you go.
So, yep.
Basically, she's trying to play to her audience.
Yep, she is.
And did so very poorly when she invited Penn Jillette.
Yeah. Yeah, she did. So, tweet time?
Yeah, I did. Like I said, I edited a few tweets out. Most of them from Kyle because... Yeah, he and you got into Factorio talking back and forth, and that was a majority of the tweets that I saw. Let's see. He does ask us another question, though, which I think we can go through pretty quickly.
Okay.
From Kyle, short of axing the Steam review system entirely, how would you fix it? And I have a one-word answer for that I didn't tweet him back. Moderation. Granted, I doubt Steam would ever do this. But they need a third-party moderator. They can't allow the developers to moderate their own games because, that's just inviting trouble.
Let's see, how many words is this? 4 words for you. 4 words. Third-party human moderators. That's how you fix the Steam system.
It's exactly how Amazon has fixed their review system.
Yep.
Because, granted, they do leave some joke reviews up. But that's the exception, not the rule.
Yeah.
Most of Amazon reviews are very good. Granted, you do get some ones that are obviously, paid reviewers that are brought in to give a good review to a product. But usually that's pretty obvious. But for big products, you look through it and you don't see, 10 out of 10, it arrived broken. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, what you see on Steam.
Yeah.
But I think also a big difference is that Amazon has a older client base. Yeah. I think that's fair to say. Because Steam,
I think so.
Steam will bring on a lot younger kids than what an Amazon reviewer would have. So maybe that is part of the difference. But yeah, Steam needs to. I'm not going to say lock down, but they need to basically go in and clean it up themselves or have a third party do it, because the developers, that's just too tempting to just start pulling bad reviews out, which they already have the power to do, by the way. Don't think that they don't. They could just mark reviews as abusive, and they're gone.
Yep.
But the thing is that I don't think Steam will do this for one very simple reason. They can't even bother themselves to do fucking customer support. Why would they do a third-party moderation for their review system?
Yeah.
As sad as it is, and as much as they need it, I don't think it will happen until Steam realizes that they have to compete again. And maybe this whole thing with GOG will wake them up. Because GOG has made some moves lately that does make it so that they're more of a contender than what they were a year ago.
Yep. I'm going to see GOG. Do you know if GOG has a curated review system?
Actually, I don't know. But also, GOG is a lot smaller than Steam, so the fuckwits aren't as apparent.
Yeah, that's fair. Their user system, though, looks a bit more Amazon-y, average, with like average user ratings of this and the star system.
I also think that having a star system instead of a flat thumbs up, thumbs down is a bit better. If I had to choose, though, I would say that I'd prefer a modified version of the Steam system where it's thumbs up, thumbs down, or a neutral. Where a neutral would be, I can't recommend it flat out, but blank.
Right.
And I think that it would cut down some of just the negative reviews that would have been positive, except for one problem.
Right.
But it wouldn't get rid of the memes, of course, or the joke reviews, but outside of moderating and getting rid of those. I think what they should do is that if your account is flagged for putting just a bunch of joke reviews on, you should go into the moderated system where your review has to be approved. That would actually cut down a lot on just how much moderation that they would have to do, now that I really think about it.
Right.
And they should get rid of that fucking funny flag, because that shouldn't be there.
Yeah, I agree with you. That should be gone.
But then again, I'm an old curmudgeon.
Yeah, me too. So yeah, there's your question.
Yeah, after like 2 weeks. Okay, Aki, Dan from Akinesis Gaming commented that our audio quality on episode 19 was absolutely fine. Remember, that was the episode that we cut the bitrate on.
Yep. So we are going to continue doing that to save on file size.
Yeah, and a little bit of an interesting note on my side of things is that with the lower bitrate, it actually had a weird interaction with how I produce my videos. Whenever I put it through Handbrake to compress the video down,
yeah,
it made it sound a little funny on the music. So I had to go in on episode 20 and make a brand new profile. And I didn't catch the audio problem until I went in to put in annotation. So it was after I uploaded everything. So that was a little annoying.
Well, it happens.
It was more just, I think the bitrate plus the compression was a bit off, but a little bit of editing on my presets and everything was fine. And let's see, M251 Speed, which I think we got a tweet from a while back.
I believe we did too.
Yeah, this is what happens when we don't have the community quarter in the one episode, is that, things get kind of muddy. So I was listening to the Franken episode and absolutely lost it around the 50-minute mark. I'm pretty sure we didn't read this before. If we did, then, you get another shot on it again. But I don't remember anybody remarking the Franken episode.
Yeah, I don't think that we read this before, so. Yeah, that was around the aeromorph part.
Yeah, and he said, honestly, glad I wasn't driving at the moment. And Kyle chirped in and said, glad I wasn't flying at the time of that conversation. Oh, poor Kyle. I think you've scarred him for flight.
Nah, that's okay.
And that's really all the tweets. Like I said, I cut a bunch of them out from Kyle that was just talking back and forth with you for Factorio.
Right.
Yeah, sorry, Kyle.
Well, I didn't have any tweets to me this week. I mean, I guess technically when we were talking about Factorio, but, Chemist did add me on Steam, and he and I have
added
had...
me as well, and I haven't talked to him, though.
Well, he and I have had several chats, and he watched me play Factorio for a couple hours, so...
Poor Chemist.
Oh.
Maybe that's why he didn't send an audio letter.
He's too busy watching me play Factorio?
No, you've scarred him.
Nah, it's fine. He told me all about his college project, and he showed me some pictures. I know what he looks like now, which, it's pretty cool. But yeah, more people are more than welcome to add me on Steam. Just send me a friend request, jarthur4707. I'll accept it. You can chat with me, watch me play games, whatever.
Well, shall we get out of the community corner?
Yeah, I suppose that's...
well, if you want to send in stuff...
Yeah.
We need to actually remember to do the proper outro for this. If you wish to send emails in, you could always send them to vglpodcast@gmail.com. Or if you wish to just tweet, it's also at vglpodcast.
Yep. So, games we're recommending for this week.
Yeah, I got a couple of them.
I also have a couple of them.
One is kind of not quite a full recommendation, but it's decent enough.
Okay.
So I guess I go first once again?
Yep, and we'll alternate.
Okay, I have Guns of Icarus Online.
Ooh, I almost picked Guns of Icarus, but I figured that you would have a strong chance of picking it.
Yeah, I will say that the Steam Weekly deal wasn't exactly strong this week.
No, I had to really sift through it to find a couple of recommendations. But I did.
Well, Guns of Icarus Online is a first-person steampunk airship combat game where you're a member of a crew on an airship and you fight other airships. Big problem with the game is that it has a very, very limited player base. Obviously, because I think it's technically an indie game still, but it's a very niche game because it is team-focused. And it is a very slow combat.
Yeah. I've played some Guns of Icarus Online. It's
Yeah, I played some as well. It is a very good game, but the problem with it is that if you're not really into the role you're playing, the match is going to be very boring.
Yeah.
And usually out of the team of 4, only 2 is usually actually firing guns. 1 is running around like a madman hitting things with a wrench.
Yeah.
And the other one is driving the airship, which is a pretty cool job. Well, assuming you like to drive the airship.
Yeah, it's difficult to get into as well without some friends. Not that the community is unfriendly, but it's kind of gotten to the point where it's like, well, if you don't know how to play, we don't want to play with you because we want to win. So they're not mean per se. It's just like, well, you don't know how to play, so I don't want to take the time to teach you. So, I wonder if we've got enough people to do a stream with Guns of Icarus.
Well, a crew is 4 people.
Yeah. How many of us own it? I have it.
I have it.
Let me go look at my Steam library. Maybe you'll beat me to it. Guns of Icarus. Oh, yep. I have it. You have it. Ghost Shark has it. Supe has it.
I'm seeing 13 of my friends that have it. But that's not exactly helpful.
Yeah, because, me and you have got...
let's see. Jim has it.
He does?
Yeah, he hasn't played it. It says that he has it in there in his inventory or his library. So we have a few people that play it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the whole list. Okay. So yeah, we could probably pull one together. We might do that in the future, because it would be fun to put together a team and just go screw around, because we would get so killed by everyone, but we could have fun dying. And
like I said, it is very slow combat, unless you are just completely have a terrible team. Right. But even then, you do respawn, so it's not completely you're knocked out. What's interesting about it is that the ship takes damage in multiple sections. You know, the armor on the ship's hull could take damage. The balloon could take damage. Individual guns could take damage. So the engineer role is actually very important, but it's also probably the least fun just because you're so hectic running around hitting things with a wrench putting out fires.
I like to play the engineer. The engineer and pilot are my two favorite things to do.
I haven't been able to play a pilot in a proper match. I have flown the ship around just in single player, you know, the training mode.
Yeah.
But the guns are fun. But they also require a lot of knowledge to be able to play correctly because there's a lot of different ammo types. You can load a different go in with different ammos. You have to know on the particular ship. Well, this is more for the pilot, but know your firing arcs on what guns you have on the ship.
Yeah.
Because there's, I want to say, half a dozen different ships, and each one is very different from the others.
Yeah, they have very different characteristics. Some of them are fast and small and agile. Some of them are really big kind of gunships. A couple of them are designed to be more kind of ramming vessels, you know.
Yeah, and some of the ships have huge blind spots on their gun placements made so that multiple people can open up fire on a single target, but the downside of that ship would be that the huge blind spot that you can't return fire from.
Right.
It's an interesting way to balance things out, though.
Yeah.
But if you want to get on the Mayhem, it's normally $9.99, but it's 66% off now, which brings it down to $3.39.
That is pretty cheap.
And it does have a single-player cooperative, single-player/cooperative DLC coming out before too long, which is probably the reason why it's on sale. But that's not on sale; it's on pre-order right now. So yeah, and you know how we feel about that, right?
Yeah. All right. So my first game, Infested Planet. This is a real-time strategy game that has got some pretty big tower defense elements in it. What it is it's if you've ever seen Starship Troopers, I have to think about that for a second. Basically, you invade this planet to do some sciencey stuff, and the aliens are these bug things that come out and swarm you. And turns out they're a lot stronger than you think that they are. And it's single player only, unless there's been some changes since the last time I played it. But it's got a pretty decent length campaign with some challenge missions that go along with it. And basically, as you go along, you can unlock more and better equipment for both your soldiers and for your towers. So the soldiers that you can bring in are the more real-time strategy part. And then the towers that you build to help keep the aliens contained while you go and do the missions is the tower defense part. It's just really nice and fun. It's very complex yet simple at the same time. There's a ton of different damage types and mechanics, but they all kind of are balanced out really well, almost kind of like rock, paper, scissors, which it's difficult to put those two things together. A lot of complexity, but yet a system that has very clear counters. And the game just continues to pile complexity on you as you go. The first probably dozen levels are really simple. Not necessarily a tutorial. I mean, there is a full-blown tutorial, but the first 10 or 12 levels are really for introducing you to the game. And then there's a really nice story point where the difficulty picks up, and there's a really nice explanation for why. It's just a really nice, solid game that is not very resource-intensive, so it can run on pretty much a toaster. Normally, Infested Planet is... What does this say? It's all messed up on my... The percentage off is covering the price. I had to refresh the page. Normally, it's $14.99. It's 67% off at $4.94. You can get the deluxe edition for $8.09, which comes with the DLC, but I've never played the DLC, so I don't know if it's good or not.
Yeah, I think I played a Flash game that's either the prequel to this, or like the prototype, or a very similar idea. It's not a bad game,
right?
If it plays like the Flash game that it looks similar to.
Yeah, it does. It does feel in some ways like a Flash game. That's a good way. I think that's part of what lends it.
There's no shame in being a Flash game.
No, absolutely not. I think that's part of what gives this game so much charm. It makes it simple. You know, they didn't go crazy with it. It's got just enough complexity to be challenging, but it's still very well balanced and easy to play and understand. So it's a fun game. I would totally recommend it to anybody who wants a nice RTS to play for a while.
Okay, and jumping on to my last game, Ichi, which is a puzzle game. Not a lot to say about this, just because it is a puzzle game. You're bouncing a ball around the level, and you're able to manipulate various blocks in the level to change the path of the ball. What's interesting about it is the art style on it. It has a very hand-drawn art style.
I feel like that you
like Blueprint. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've covered this before, but there was really nothing in the Steam Weekly sale.
Right.
So that's why I'm doing like the Reader's Digest version of this.
No, that's fine. I wasn't going to be like, yeah, you've covered this before, pick another one. But I was like, I'm pretty sure you've covered this one before.
Yeah, that's why I'm not saying a lot about it.
Fair enough. Anyways, carry on.
And it's also very cheap. It's normally $4.99, but it's 75% off right now, which brings it down to $1.24.
Very cheap.
Yeah, it's. I'm not sure if there is a mobile version of it, but it plays like one. Not a detriment to it once again, but it doesn't have a lot of controls to it. It's you click a button or click on a piece and it rotates it around. And it has quite a few levels with a lot on the Steam Workshop, if I recall correctly. Actually, let me go double check that. Or it has its own little workshop thing. Because I'm pretty sure it is a mobile game, and you're able to make levels in the game itself. So it has a way to import levels from its own servers. It says over 19,000 levels on the Steam store, which makes me think that it's in the game itself, because I don't see it on the Steam Workshop.
Fancy.
And it's one of these games that I'm not 100% convinced is worth full price, even though $5 is very impulse buy level.
Right.
But 75% off, bring it down to under $1.50 is about perfect for it. Something that you could play for a little bit and then put down, and then a few months later pick it up, and it's not so complex that you forget all the mechanics to it. At least as far as I played it.
Very nice. All right, my second game is All Guns on Deck. This is an early access game, which is an interesting game. It's much more of a management game than anything, honestly. You have a base you have to build and maintain, which gives you money and equipment and all that sort of thing. But the main thrust of the game is you build a ship, and there are many different ship types and customizations that you can do to them, and take to the high seas to go explore the world and conquer it, and complete missions and earn rewards, and come back and build your ship, and just rinse and repeat until you have conquered the high seas. But the management aspects comes in during the combat system. You have to either manage your crew or shoot the guns, and you can switch back and forth. And the AI controls the other one that you're not using, but it's pretty crappy at that job. So you have to manage. Okay, now I have to go down and check on my crew, make sure they're repairing the ship, or where they're going to be to give me the most boosts, make sure that my ship is going the proper speed, and all of that jazz. And then, a whole bunch of difficult enemies coming, got to take over the guns so I can make sure and kill them. And neither system is difficult, but it's just hectic enough that if you lose your cool, if you get a little bit panicked, or if you start making mistakes, small mistakes can compound on each other really quickly. And cause some interesting gameplay.
I see it's a very mixed review on Steam.
Yeah, it's got mixed reviews. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure why. As far as I know, it doesn't have any technical issues, so it could be people who have problems with the gameplay. I don't know if the reviews are for earlier versions of the game, because it's not got very many reviews. It originally released on August of last year, so about a year ago. Or I guess was purchasable through early access about a year ago. But, I mean, the game is still receiving active updates. The last one was in March.
End of March.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's been a few months, but the game has been going for some time now, so...
It looks like the main thing from that, actually, it looks like the only thing was the Steam Cloud saving.
Support. But, I mean, you go look at the reviews, and I haven't seen anywhere people have talked about bugs or anything like that, so... I don't...
Maybe it's just content-wise and they want more from it.
It could be that they want more. Yeah, the content is pretty repetitive. If the core gameplay loop of, okay, managing my crew and my ship at the same time is not very compelling to you, there's not a lot more to offer. The worlds, even though you can explore them and go find stuff, they're not like super big or in-depth. And the base managing mechanic is much more of kind of a mobile sort of Facebook-style game. It's like you build a thing and you wait, and then you get a bonus from it. And then you can build another thing and wait, and then get a bonus from it. So it's very, very secondary to the core gameplay mechanic, which is, sailing your ship and fighting things and exploring the map. I think it's quite fun, but if it's not for you, then it's not for you.
It's for particular people.
Yeah.
It's a niche game, once again.
Yep. It's
and there's nothing wrong with a game being niche. It's just... if people want something different from it, it's kind of hurts it. Sort of like what I was saying with tabletop racing like 3 hours ago.
Yeah, it's been a while. But the game.
I do not envy your editing right now.
Yep, it's gonna be fun. Normally it's $12.99.
Is that a massive sarcasm quote?
Yeah. Normally it's $12.99, 25% off, $9.74. All guns on deck. I like it, so if you tend to like the games that I like, well, you'll like it too.
And that brings us to, starting to wrap things up. So, what's going on your channel right now?
I'm uploading all of the Terraria videos that I forgot to do before I left on my trip. So they're all ready and rendered, and I was going to upload them and then schedule them and all that jazz while I was on my trip. Left home, forgot to do that, and I turned my computer off, so I could not remote into it and do it. And then...
you should have just had someone come over, turn on the power, and leave.
I probably could have. My mom's got a key, but I just was like, it's not that big of a deal. But so there's that. And then I've got several just gameplay videos that I'm going to be posting. Probably no commentary. I might do commentary for a couple of them. But I mean, this is some footage that I've had for a while that I've not done anything with.
Just trying out some different things?
Yeah, and so rather than just like throwing it out, I just figure I'll put it up. And I mean, some people just like to watch games. They don't want commentary or anything, so...
Don't want to hear my snarky ass.
So there's some Factorio stuff. There's Battle Stations Harbinger. I believe there's some Hearthstone's videos in there. I can just go look. I mean, it's really just a collection of, I think I want to record today, so I'll record this video. Or I intend to do something with it, and then I'll never get around to it. And normally I just delete them, or they get used for B-roll footage, but I've got so many just hanging around, I kind of want to just do something with them. So yeah, a lot of Factorio, Battle Stations Harbinger, like I said. There are some Terraria videos that are just me messing around, so those will get thrown in there. There's a couple of Eve videos to go into the mix. So just some random gameplay footage videos, and if they do well, I'll just keep doing more of them. And if they don't, then I'll just go back to deleting them and not posting them.
Which would be a little ego hurting if your videos without any commentary does really well.
Wouldn't bother me. It really wouldn't bother me one bit. But yeah, I mean, really, that's it on the channel this week. Catch up again, and then stuff that I haven't done anything with. I do have some stuff planned to work on this week, but it definitely won't be out until later, so I'm not even going to talk about it, because I don't want to set up expectations for something that I might not actually get to.
Yeah, I've had that burn me in the past.
Yeah.
Particularly with games that don't work with my recording software.
Yeah. What about you this week? What's coming out on your channel?
Things are chugging along rather nicely. I've actually recorded the very end of Darksiders, so that's going to be winding down over the next couple of weeks. Thankfully enough, because it was starting to piss me off.
Right.
Oh, that game is a lot better whenever it doesn't throw in its obtuse puzzles. And I think what really hurt it was some of the Portal stuff that they were trying to do. I think it came out around the time that Portal was really big. So they threw in Portals as well, and it never worked quite right. It's hard to explain without showing you a video of it. It's basically there's a delay on the portal whenever it activates, and also if you're too far away from the portal, it removes the view through it. So it's cutting down on how much it has to render.
Right.
And it makes it so that you're having to dance close enough to the portal to see what's going on without it sucking you in, which pissed me off more than a few times.
Right.
As you might imagine, because I'm trying to figure out what's going on the other side of the portal to figure out a puzzle, only to step too close and, oh, there's a death. And also, my inexperience with the genre didn't exactly help things, because it was a decent enough game, but I think having experience with the Zelda-like titles would have helped me a great deal, because I could definitely see the set pieces, but I don't know the set pieces well enough to be able to say, okay, well, it's obviously going to be this, 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 and this. Instead, I was seeing, okay, it's this again. Or, oh, I did pretty much this exact puzzle a video or two ago, which more irritated me than anything else.
Right.
Beyond that, I'm trying to keep the last remnant going. So much grinding on that, which I'm planning on doing some more after this, unless I'm just not in the mood for it, which is very possible.
Not in the mood. Wink.
Maybe some Overwatch porn instead.
Oh yeah, Overwatch porn.
It's just, last remnant is gotten a lot grindier than I was intending it to be.
Right.
Which, yes, I realize, like I said 3 hours ago, once again, that it is a JRPG, and I did expect some grinding going into it, but having this much grinding and having a massive, massive difficulty spike this early in the game, which I realize I'm 10 hours into the game. But that's still very early for a JRPG.
Yeah. Most JRPGs tend to be 50 hours at least.
Yeah, and this is even technically the end of the first disc.
No. You've still got one more.
Usually there's a big battle at the end of the disc, like to end it off on a high note. And
well, you're at a big battle, but it's not the end of the first disc.
No, I have that coming up. And of course there's Terraria, which we're going to have to be recording some extra of that because I miscounted my episodes, thinking that we had enough to cover our time off.
Yep. But that's okay.
I know, I'm just dragging you into more Terraria away from Factorio.
Nah, it's fine. There's conveyor belts now.
And, well, beyond that, of course, the podcast on Fridays and the Sunday Sampler, which I need to figure out what I'm going to do with the Sunday Sampler because it's mostly been, well, actually, it's all been just quick looks of videos. But here's the problem is that the summer slump is coming.
Right.
And what am I going to do there? Because I do have a backlog of games that I could go back to. But I've noticed that if I do an older game, I don't get nearly as many views, especially since the Sunday Sampler games tend to be smaller games anyway. So I may pilfer a topic from the discussion list and use that for a Sunday Sampler. I'm not sure.
Sure.
Depending on if you get pissed with me.
Nah. Go ahead.
Because we definitely have some interesting ones.
We do.
Especially some of the ones I've added, like that last one. And now you're going to scroll
Which one's
down
the last one? I have to go look at it. Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I came up with that one after watching a Boogie video.
Also interesting.
Yeah, I'll have to I afterwards so you see what I'm talking about. But I I'm debating on what to do with the Sunday Sampler, and also Last Remnant. If I have trouble with grinding this much, I may drop it and be like that would be the first game that I actually drop outside of technical issues on the last episode. I'm not looking forward to dropping it, but yeah, if I have this much trouble this early on, what am I going to do later on, right?
Right.
It's something to consider at least. And that's pretty much what's going on the channel. And if you wish to check it out, since you didn't plug your stuff, I'll plug mine.
Go ahead. Yeah, I realized that once I asked you, but I was just going to let you go and then go at the end.
I'm over at Gaming with Caffeine Rage on YouTube or Gaming with CR on Twitter. Okay, now you can plug your stuff now.
All right, and if you want to go look at the stuff I talked about a few minutes ago, you can do so by looking at my YouTube channel, Gaming Psychologist. You can follow me over on Twitter at JMA4707. You can also watch me on Twitch. Follow me there too, twitch.tv/jarthur4707. And like I said earlier, if you want to add me on Steam, jarthur4707. Just add me as a friend. I'll accept you, whoever you are.
I mean, he puts up with me, right?
That's right. You can
and there's another plug to go out to the Internet Archive for unknowingly supporting this bullshit.
But we're professional bullshit now.
Yeah, we're professional bullshitters. Not quite as professional as politicians, but close enough.
Which reminds me, we did say that we were going to thank, not name names since they didn't, publicly say on Twitter or whatever, but just we want to thank the second person who gave us some money on Patreon. We really appreciate it. And
yeah, that's going to be our policy. Is if you don't email us or tweet us directly saying that you supported us, we're not going to name your name, but we'll still thank you for it. Because it is anonymous unless we're missing something on Patreon.
Yeah, I mean, we can see it since we're the account holders, I guess. But to anyone just randomly coming to look at our page, it just says how many patrons we have. So we won't call any names out unless you specifically say, hey, just gave you some money on Patreon, either in a letter you send us or a tweet or something like that.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out the best way to do this, and that seemed to be the way to be fair to someone that may not want to have their name out there.
Right. So, you know who you are, though, person. We know who you are. We appreciate it. Thank you.
But if you wish to contribute to the Patreon, it is over at patreon.com/BGL podcast.
Indeed, and we hope you do.
Yes, it is very much appreciated, and it does help us improve the podcast in the future. We were talking about some hosting options before the show.
Right, and we do need more money to make those happen.
Yeah, because one is cheap and requires a lot of hackery to get to work right, and the other is expensive and easy.
We definitely like easy better. If only it was cheap and easy.
Yeah.
Kind of like a really bad hooker.
Or me.
Or some Overwatch porn.
But if you wish, also getting back on topic and trying to close things out somewhat quickly, since we're well over the 3-hour mark, even with your editing.
Yeah.
If you wish to email us about Overwatch porn, lawyer stuff, Kyle, or anything else that you wish to talk about, you could do so at bglpodcast@gmail.com with audio letters or text letters. We didn't have any text letters this week, so but they are still appreciated. Or you can just tweet us at bglpodcast. And if you subscribed, if you are watching this through YouTube or through other means and wish to see the show notes, you can find that at videogamelogic.podcast.blogspot.com. See, that breaks the chain, doesn't it?
We just need to have like a flow chart for this because
yeah.
I
also changed the order last moment, trying to make things a little bit smoother and kind of mess things up as well.
Right.
But I think it's the email, the URL for the show website kind of throws me off as well. But we have our RSS feed there in the show notes if you're watching this on YouTube or found us somewhere else.
Like iTunes or Google Play Music in their podcast section.
Yeah, now I'm going to have to find another site to subject you to their submitting process.
Oh, God. Please don't.
But our final thing is our intro and outro music is On the Ground by Kevin McLeod, and you can find his work at incomputech.com.
Absolutely, and as his wonderful music starts to play across my voice, bye-bye now.
See you next time.
Bye-bye. Hello and welcome to another. Blah 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 blah. You fucked me up. Damn it! Damn it!
Take a week and a half off and you completely lose it.
Nope, I'm good. We're good. It's fine. Fine.
No, that'll be a first if we're good.
Well, I mean, we're usually great, so you're right. It'll be a first if we're good.
Oh,
Okay.
don't we have an overinflated ego?
I do.
Oh, see, that's why we're a good team. You have the overinflated ego, and I have really, lack of, not even really ego, but what's the proper term for it? Because you
Lack
said
of
it before.
self-confidence?
Yeah, okay, there we go. I was kind of just blanking on it. Yeah, we offset one another.
Yeah. Somewhat. Okay. Take two. Here we go. Hello and welcome to another episode. Okay. I can do it. I swear I can do this. As soon as you stop laughing.
You may have to give me a moment then.
Okay.
All that build-up, you don't even get a full word out.
I don't even get... I got hello. Hello was fine.
Oh.
Okay, third time's the charm.